A very good evening to all my dear students. So today we'll be starting a new chapter, which is chapter number 10, the company audit. But before that, I would like to ask you all whether chapter number 9, whatever we have discussed in chapter number 9, Hana, the questions that I have uploaded and that I've asked you to go through along with the module, whether you all have done that or not. So I can see Dhyanesh, Kanhaiya, Jash, Jyoti, Khushi, Aman, Lakshmi, Harshita. They all have joined. A very good evening to all my dear students. So first of all, tell me whether you have understood chapter number 9. Are you able to, remember it for your exams? Are you able to prepare it or not? And students, I've already told you that your knowledge of chapter number 9 will be used again where in chapter number 10. Hana? So you should be thorough with all the additional regulatory information, all the disclosure requirements that are given in chapter number 9. So Alok is saying, ma'am, homework is done. Aman is saying, ma'am, I'm partly done. See, either it is done or it is not done, right? So please complete it and then in the next session say, I am 100% done. So I hope you all are able to answer the questions that have been given to you. And with respect to the last chapter, we have also discussed the last 2 question papers. And as we discussed, see, the questions are from the additional regulatory information that is given in your book module, Hana. So very important topics. I'm repeating it again. Very important. Also important for your understanding of chapter number 10. Try to, read it again and again. For all those who are saying that, ma'am, we are not able to remember it, Hana, only like Alok is saying, ma'am, only 70% can be remembered. So read it again, go through the module again, watch these lectures again. Like reading the module again once or twice will make it for the rest 30% alone. Okay? So now, with respect to chapter number 10 for today. So let us start this chapter on a very positive note, which is chapter number 10, the company audit. Okay? Right? So shall we start? Students, see in a company now, there are 2 bodies, like shareholders are there, board of directors are there. Hana? Shareholders, they provide their funds to the, let's say the directors, the board of directors are there, who thereby make the investment out of those funds, who run the business out of those funds. Okay? Now, these board of directors, these are under the obligation to present the financial statement to the shareholders so that they can have a look as to what has been done with the funds that has been provided to the company. Hana? So the shareholders are given the audited financial statements. Jo bhi financial statements the company, the board of directors has prepared, they have signed it, Hana? Like the draft financial statement, it is then audited by the auditor. He puts his signature and they become what audited financial statement, whereby the shareholders can see as to what exactly is the financial position as on a particular day, or with respect to the with respect to the position of results from operation during the year, right? Now, the person who is conducting the audit, he has been given a very important role, because earlier they were financial statements. When they were checked by the auditor, they become what audited financial statements, and the confidence of the users of the financial statement increases. The credibility of such financial statement increases. Hana? In fact, other users of the financial statements also, like the bankers, the debtors, the creditors, the income tax authorities, the credibility increases. So the person who is conducting the audit the auditor, with respect to the auditor, in this chapter, we'll be discussing a number of concepts. Like, what are the eligibility of an auditor? The qualification or disqualification of the auditor. For how long an auditor will be appointed? Who will be appointing the auditor? Who will be deciding upon the remuneration? Whether the auditor can resign, whether the company can remove the auditor, right? Then we will be discussing about the auditor's reporting requirements, that what will he be mentioning in his audit report, right? Further, there is an additional reporting requirement, which I have told in the last session also, CARO 2020, right? Company's Auditor Report Order 2020. Apart from that, we will be discussing 2 essays in this chapter. Okay? So basically, since an auditor has been entrusted with such an important role, the auditor should be qualified enough now. Auditor should be independent of the client organization now. Then only he'll be able to give an expert opinion and an unbiased opinion, right? So in this chapter, we will be basically studying about various sections of the Companies Act, which are given in Chapter 10 of the Companies Act 2013. So right now I'm talking about the Companies Act 2013. Chapter 10 is there with the name Audit and Auditors, which consist of these 10 sections: Section 139, 140, 141, 142, 143, 144, 145, 146, 147, and 148, right? Apart from these, students, you all must have covered section 128 to 138 in your corporate law, or you will be covering as and when the sessions will be conducted. These are basically what? Chapter 9 of the Companies Act 2013. So a little understanding and in fact, a basic knowledge about these sections will be required, which we will be discussing upon as and when they will come in the chapter, right? Now, as I told you that this chapter is basically law-based chapter. So along with the Companies Act 2013, as you all know that wherever in the act it is mentioned as may be prescribed, the rules come into picture. So the rules that we will be discussing in this chapter is Companies, Audit and Auditors Rule 2014. Okay? Apart from that, there will be certain rules relating to cost audit also, which I'll be telling you later on, right? So this is the brief as to what we are going to discuss in this chapter. Okay? A very important chapter from the point of view of your examination also. Short questions from this chapter. CARO 2020, again, utmost important. In fact, all the sections, all the provisions that are given in this chapter, very, very important. And your understanding here is going to help you in your corporate law exam also. Why? Because there is a separate chapter on in your corporate law with respect to these sections. Okay? So, ek pan do kaj. If you understand this chapter with concentration here, this is going to help you in your preparation for corporate law also. Okay? So any doubt to anyone? And Dhyanish, so the answer to your query is Delhi NCR. Okay? The rest of you, please send in any query. Abhi to वैसे we have just discussed as to what we are going to study, है ना? तो अगर ऑडिटर को इतना इम्पोर्टेंट, सो टू जस्ट समराइज इन हिंदी, अगर ऑडिटर को इतना इम्पोर्टेंट टास्क दिया हुआ है ना, कि जो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स जो मैनेजमेंट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बना रहा है उसको चेक करके ऑडिटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में कन्वर्ट करके वो ही फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट शेयर होल्डर्स को प्रेजेंट होते हैं, देन दिस ऑडिटर मस्ट हैव सर्टेन क्वालिफिकेशंस, एलिजिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए. एंड ये जो भी हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं ना, सो द मेन फोकस विल बी ऑन इंडिपेंडेंस, दैट द ऑडिटर मस्ट बी इंडिपेंडेंस, है ना? देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी थ्रेट टू इंडिपेंडेंस. फॉर दैट देयर आर सर्टेन क्वालिफिकेशंस disqualifications, है ना. Ineligibility criteria, some concepts like these are there. इंडिपेंडेंस को इंटैक्ट रखना है. जहां पे इंडिपेंडेंस पे डेंजर आएगा वहां पे ऑडिटर विल नॉट, दैट पर्सन विल नॉट बी एलिजिबल टू बी अपॉइंटेड एज एन ऑडिटर. ठीक है. उसके बाद मैंने आपको क्या बताया कि ये सब हम डिस्कस करेंगे. रिमूवल, रेजिग्नेशन, remuneration of auditor, powers and duties of the auditor. Then there is a section that auditor cannot render various services. What are those? है ना. What are the punishment for contravention? है ना. Right of the auditor and the duty of the auditor to attend the general meeting. है ना. And then cost audit followed by SA 299 with respect to joint audit, SA 600 using the work of another auditor, and your CARO 2020. ठीक है. So as I've told you that chapter number 9 relating to accounts of company. So I'm assuming that you all are very well versed with all these provisions, but yes, as and when they'll come, we'll definitely touch upon them. And most importantly, your section 128 and 129 का knowledge will be using here. ठीक है. ठीक है. Section 133 का भी थोड़ा बहुत understanding, right? And 138 का भी. ठीक है. So is it clear? 138 तो you all must have done in your chapter number 4 ना, है ना. तो 138 as such is not required in this chapter, but this you have done in your chapter number 4. ठीक है. So let us start with the first topic, which is very interesting. अच्छा, these provisions are really very interesting, है ना. आपको मजा आएगा पढ़ने में कि क्या एलिजिबिलिटी है, क्या क्वालिफिकेशन है या डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन है ऑडिटर के. ठीक है. और लॉजिकली सोचोगे ना तो आपको सब कुछ समझ आएगा कि कंपनी ये क्या ऑर्डिनरी रेजोल्यूशन से कर सकता है या स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन से ही होगा. सो अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक. ठीक है. सो एलिजिबिलिटी, क्वालिफिकेशन एंड डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन ऑफ एन ऑडिटर कंटेन्ड इन सेक्शन 141 ऑफ द कंपनीज एक्ट 2013, एंड आई विल बी फॉलोइंग द सेम सीक्वेंस एज इज गिवन इन योर मॉड्यूल. ठीक है. क्विकली टेल मी what as per your understanding can be the eligibility criteria. क्या who can be appointed as the auditor of a company, है ना. देखते हैं whether the understanding that we have obtained so far, the discussions that we have had so far, उससे आपको ये सब समझ आता है क्या. तो बताओ क्या आपको लगता है what can be the eligibility criteria. So eligibility से I mean what qualification must be required. अच्छा, one more thing, this topic is what the company audit, है ना. So here we'll be discussing about the statutory audit of a company, है ना. वैसे तो audit की definition क्या होती है? Independent examination of financial information of any entity. तो here we are talking about what? We are talking about a company specifically, है ना. That is like we are reading the Companies Act, na, the various sections of Companies Act. So particularly the stat audit with respect to a company. ठीक है. So see, many of you are saying that he should be a chartered accountant, which is absolutely correct. There is a reply that member of ICI, which is also absolutely correct. ठीक है. Then Miss Vida is saying he should not be an employee of company, not being an employee of company. Company से you mean the client, है ना. So which is absolutely correct. ठीक है. Employee of company. Then ठीक है, who has not provided book services, so bookkeeping ना provide किया हो, which is absolutely correct. ठीक है. Then a firm can also be appointed, firm, which is absolutely correct. ठीक है. Should not have any link with the company. So this is Aman. So basically we will see Aman. Basically क्या, independent of company होना चाहिए ना. So when there will be any danger to independence, I have told you, any threat to independence, there will be what? A ineligibility which will get attracted. And Aman is saying should not have any interest in the company of and the holding company. ठीक है. So holding company, subsidiary company, associate company, ये बहुत सारे clauses हम देखेंगे. ठीक है. तो मोटा मोटा सा आपको समझ तो आ गया है, ठीक है, बट लॉ में देखते हैं क्या मेंशन है। सेक्शन 141 एंड द नेम इज एलिजिबिलिटी, क्वालिफिकेशन, डिसक्वालिफिकेशन ऑफ एन ऑडिटर. सो दिस सेक्शन हैज 4 सबसेक्शंस, है ना. विल बी रीडिंग ऑल दी सबसेक्शंस वन बाय वन, है ना. सबसेक्शन 1 और 2 में क्या बताया गया है कि who can be appointed as an auditor, ठीक है. And if it is a firm, then there is certain requirement. What is that? Subsection 3 में it is given that following persons shall not be eligible to for appointment as an auditor of the company, ठीक है. And subsection 4 में बताया गया है कि if any of this disqualifications is attracted, so I forgot to mention it. So if any of the disqualifications is attracted, then it will be deemed to be a casual vacancy, है ना. अच्छे से डिस्कस करेंगे वन बाय वन, ठीक है. सो सबसेक्शन 1 of section 141, it says that a person, so let me just take you through the module. So the provisions relating to eligibility, qualification, disqualifications of an auditor are governed by section 141 of the Companies Act. And the main provisions are: a person shall be eligible for appointment as an auditor of a company only if he is a chartered accountant. ठीक है. So a person can be appointed as an auditor of the company if only if he is a chartered accountant, है ना. So I'm saying I have already told you that we are talking about what? The audit of a company, है ना. So with respect to a company, a person, in order to be appointed as an auditor of the company, so for all those who are saying ma'am company secretary, CMA, nahi, as of now till date this privilege is given to the chartered accountants only, that they can be appointed as the auditor of the company, ठीक है. Now who is a chartered accountant? So just a minute. So the term chartered accountant has been defined in clause 17 of section 2 of the Companies Act 2013, and it says that chartered accountant means a chartered accountant as defined in clause B subsection 1 of section 2 of Chartered Accountant Act 1949. You all must be aware that there is a Chartered Accountant Act, CA Act 1949, and who holds a valid certificate of practice under subsection 1 of section 6 of that act, ठीक है. So who is a chartered accountant? A person who is a chartered accountant in terms of CA Act and who is holding a valid certificate of practice. Now, if you look at the CA Act, it says that a person who is a member of the institute is a chartered accountant. Member of the ICAI is a chartered accountant. Clear? So, a person shall be eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if and if he is what? A chartered accountant. What is chartered accountant? So this is the extra knowledge that I have given you, that clause 17 of section 2 of the Companies Act 2013, it explains that chartered accountant means a person who is defined as chartered accountant under the CA Act 1949 and who holds a valid certificate of practice, ठीक है. CA Act 1945 में क्या डिफाइन किया गया है? पर्सन हु इज अ मेंबर ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट, ठीक है. सो फॉर बीइंग एन ऑडिटर सीए तो होना जरूरी है ही, बट यू शुड ऑल्सो हैव व्हाट? अ वैलिड सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस, राइट. A valid certificate of practice is also required. So in short, ये definition दिया गया है in clause 17. ठीक है? Clear? Is it clear? ठीक है? Now, so tell me, a person can be appointed as an auditor. Tell me, is my first point right or wrong as a sole proprietor? So just write one yes or no. So quickly tell me. अब हमने बता दिया पर्सन, तो कैन दैट पर्सन बी, yes, so sole proprietor in practice, so CA having a valid certificate of practice. So if his is in a partnership firm, right to yes or no. So Kojima, check your answer. Partnership firm, so the answer is yes, and firm includes LLP, limited liability partnerships also. Okay. So the second point, so it may be noted that a firm whereof majority of the partners practicing in India are qualified for appointment as aforesaid may be appointed by its firm name to be the auditor of a company. So if a firm is there, है ना, A, B, C, ठीक है, so majority of the partners practicing India should be qualified as aforesaid, that is they should be what? Chartered accountant, qualified as aforesaid, then that firm can be appointed as an auditor in its name. Okay. Further students, when a firm including LLP is appointed as an auditor, then only the partners who are chartered accountants shall be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. So let's say LLP is there, whereby CS, CMA, CA, let's say there are 3 CAs, one CMA and one CS. So this is for LLP of total 5 members. Out of this, majority of the partners practicing in India are what? They are chartered accountant. So only the chartered accountant partners are authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm as an auditor. So this CS or CMA, they cannot sign the audit report. So only the CAs, Hana, the CAs will be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. So where a firm including LLP, here it has been specified, clarified that LLP is also included, is appointed as an auditor of a company, only the partners who are chartered accountants shall be authorized to act on and sign on behalf of the firm. Is it clear? Hana? So firm including LLP can be appointed as an auditor, and the CA partner is only authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. So if you look at any audit report, now there it will be mentioned CA so and so for, let's say, ABC and associates. Okay? The membership number of that firm will be given. Sorry, the registration number of that firm will be given, and the membership number of that CA partner will be given. Okay? So only that CA partner, he can act and sign on behalf of the firm. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay? So in the first section, we have seen that he should be a chartered accountant. And in case of a firm, the majority of the partners practicing in India should be chartered accountant. Then the firm can be appointed in its name as the auditor of the company. And where a firm including LLP is appointed, then the partner who are chartered accountants, they shall be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Okay? Now subsection 3, it is about what? The ineligibility, that is under subsection 3 of section 141, and here students will be reading the first rule of this chapter, as in the first rule that is given in your module in this chapter, that is rule number 10 of the Companies Audit and Auditors Rule. Okay, 2014. So rule number 10 will be studying along with section 141 subsection 3. So it says that the following persons shall not be eligible for appointment as an auditor of the company. The following persons shall not be eligible for appointment as an auditor of the company. और अगर इसको आपको समझना है, yes, Alok is saying, मैम यहाँ पर UDIN number भी आएगा, which is absolutely correct. Unique document identification number. This will be discussed in detail in your chapter number 11. Hana? So only the CA who is signing, he will have this access to this UDIN, this unique number, and then he'll be mentioned this number on the report. ठीक है, Alok, you are absolutely correct. ठीक है. So now in order to understand all these clauses ना, just keep in mind कि क्या purpose है. हमारा purpose क्या है? That independence should be there. Independence of the auditor should be there. So there are clauses, I think 9 clauses, A, B, C, D. Then F, G, H, I. ठीक है? So we'll be discussing all these clauses one by one, है ना? So first of all, see, ऊपर it has already been clarified ना? It has already been said that a firm including LLP. Just a minute. LLPs can be appointed as an auditor of the company. ठीक है? So tell me, is LLP a body corporate? Yes or no? Is LLP a body corporate? So the answer is yes. So the following person shall not be eligible for an appointment as an auditor of the company. And the first point says a body corporate. But other than LLP, limited liability partnership. So a company, है ना, a public limited company, let's say, है ना, or a private limited company, these cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company. Other than LLP, since LLP is also body corporate, so therefore specifically it has been mentioned that other than LLP. Clear? Clear? So a body corporate other than LLP is what? Not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. So this is the first, you can say, disqualification. Okay? Then an officer or employee of the company. So let us just take an example that ABC Limited is our company, client company. Okay? Let's say there is a firm of chartered accountants, X, Y, Z and associates. Okay? So if Mr. X, let's say Mr. X is an officer or employee here. Now, what is meant by officer? First of all, let us just have a look at this definition, which is given in clause 59 of section 2 of the Companies Act. So officer includes any director, manager or KMP or any person in accordance with whose directions or instructions the board of directors or any one or more of the directors is accustomed to act. है ना? So includes any director, manager, KMP या कोई भी person in accordance with whose directions the board of directors or any one or more of the directors is accustomed to act. ठीक है? So let me just change this example. Just a minute. ठीक है? So let's say ABC Limited is a company and Mr. X is an officer, is a director here. Or let's say Mr. X is an employee here. So can Mr. X be appointed as an auditor of the company? The answer is no. And what is the reason? There will be threat to dash if Mr. X is appointed as an auditor of the company. Threat to dash of Mr. X. What will be this dash? So there will be threat to independence of Mr. X. Okay? If Mr. X is an employee of the company, he's reporting to the directors, let's say on a daily basis. So can we expect Mr. X to act independently? Can we expect Mr. X to act objectively, to tell the MD of the company who is giving him the salary that see the financial statement do not reflect a true and fair view, right? So there will be threat to independence of Mr. X. So he should not be an officer and employee of the company. Okay? Relating to this is the C point, which says that officer employee of company has been covered here. That is, an officer or employee of the company is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of that company. Okay? Further, the C point says that officer employee को तो ऊपर ineligibility में डाल दिया है. A partner or employee of officer or employee of the company. A partner और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ ऑफिसर और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी, तो एबीसी लिमिटेड क्लाइंट है, ठीक है, एंड लेट्स से मिस्टर एक्स यहां पर क्या है, ही इज अ डायरेक्टर हियर and he is also a partner in XYZ and Associates. ठीक है, so Mr. Y can also not be appointed as an auditor of this company. So a partner of the officer of the company, that is, who is the partner in our example? Mr. Y. Who is the officer in our example? Mr. X, who is the director of ABC Limited. ठीक है, and again by independence, right? So since Mr. Y is a partner of an officer of the company, again there will be threat to independence, okay? So what we have seen, a body corporate other than LLP, the following persons are not eligible. So a body corporate is not eligible other than LLP. An officer or employee of the company are not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company, and a partner or employee of officer or employee of the company are not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. Okay, so Pritika, what I meant when I said that keep in mind that independence को ध्यान में रखते हुए ineligibility है, ठीक है? So majority of these points are relating to that point only, majority of the points, ठीक है, ठीक है. एंड वाई कंपनी बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट को क्यों नहीं बोला है, बताओ ना. अगर कल को कुछ देयर इज सम नेग्लिजेंस, किसको विल यू हेल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल इन केस ऑफ अ कंपनी? हु विल बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल? राइट प्रीतिका, है ना? So that is the reason why a body corporate has been taken as an eligibility, right? So the 3 points, I hope these are clear. Dhyanish, we will discuss this point, just wait. Okay? Now the D point. So the D point, a very, very important point for your case scenarios, your MCQs. See, the D point is relating to a situation whereby, so what was the point? We were discussing that ABC Limited is the client and XYZ and associates are what? इनका eligibility देखना है, ठीक है? So point D says that the following persons are ineligible. Who are those following persons? The person. So अगर हम CAX की eligibility check कर रहे हैं, whether he can be appointed as an auditor or not. So the person or his relative or partner. So person is who? CAX. So for simplicity ना, ठीक है? Person is CAX, ठीक है? Relative is, let's say, Mrs. X, ठीक है? And partner is, let's say, CAY in this case. So CAX will not be eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if he himself or his wife or his partner. So in relative, a number of other relatives are also covered. So we will look at that definition. So if that person himself or the relative or the partner, if, so here 3 persons, basically person, his relative or his partner, if they hold any security, they hold any security, this is the first subclause, or they are indebted to the company, this is the second point. And the third point, if any of these have given a guarantee to the company with respect to a third party. Okay? So if you can see, this clause talks about person, relative या partner ने कुछ किया है. उस कुछ में क्या क्या आती है? या तो कोई सिक्योरिटी होल्ड की है कंपनी में, या कंपनी से कुछ उधार लिया हुआ है, या कंपनी को कुछ गारंटी दी हुई है किसी थर्ड पर्सन के बिहाफ में. Then this person, that is CAX, is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. Company is what? ABC Limited. It's a holding, it's a subsidiary, it's associate and subsidiary of the holding. ठीक है, अब ये क्या था, इसको अब हम डिटेल में डिस्कस करते हैं. ठीक है, समझ आता है वैसे क्या है. सो डी पॉइंट के अंदर देयर आर 3 सब पॉइंट्स. ठीक है, एंड दिस डी पॉइंट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट 3 पर्सन, दैट इज द पर्सन हिमसेल्फ, CAX, जिसके एलिजिबिलिटी की हम डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं, या उनका कोई रिलेटिव या उनका कोई पार्टनर. If they undertake any of these 3 things, right, then ineligibility कहाँ आएगी? कंपनी में तो आएगी ही, बट कंपनी की होल्डिंग में, कंपनी की सब्सिडरी में, कंपनी की एसोसिएट में एंड अदर सब्सिडरी ऑफ द होल्डिंग में भी इनएलिजिबिलिटी आ जाएगी. किसकी? CAX की. ठीक है, तो बहुत धीरे धीरे विल डिस्कस इट वन बाय वन. ठीक है. So first of all, let us have a look at the definition of relative, which is given in clause 77. So relative with reference to any person means anyone who is related to another. If so, clause 77, section 2 of Companies Act में दिया गया है ना ये. So these are member of Hindu undivided family, right? They are wife, husband and wife, or one person is related to other in such manner as may be prescribed. और वो क्या प्रेस्क्राइब किया हुआ है? सो द रिलेटिव एज डिफाइंड अंडर द कंपनीज एक्ट, तो क्या क्या था? मेंबर्स ऑफ HUF, ये हमने पढ़ लिया. हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ, दिस वी हैव डिस्कस. एज में भी प्रिस्क्राइब्ड में कौन आता है? फादर इंक्लूडिंग स्टेप फादर, मदर इंक्लूडिंग स्टेप मदर, सन इंक्लूडिंग स्टेप सन, सन्स वाइफ, डॉटर, डॉटर्स हस्बैंड, ब्रदर इंक्लूडिंग स्टेप ब्रदर, सिस्टर इंक्लूडिंग स्टेप सिस्टर. है ना? तो बेसिकली देखो, मेंबर्स ऑफ HUF आ गया, हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ आ गया, फादर, मदर, सन, डॉटर, राइट, ब्रदर, सिस्टर, एंड एक्सेप्ट फॉर डॉटर सबका स्टेप इज ऑल्सो कवर्ड. ठीक है. देन सन्स वाइफ and daughter's husband. These are what? These are the persons who are included as relative for the purpose of Companies Act 2013. Hana? Clear? So it says that, now let us read this clause again. So a person who, his relative or partner. Relative का definition, is it clear? हमने क्या पढ़ा? HUF के मेंबर्स, हस्बैंड वाइफ. ठीक है. देन फादर, जस्ट फादर, मदर, सन, डॉटर, ब्रदर, सिस्टर, सन्स वाइफ एंड डॉटर्स हस्बैंड. एंड यहां पर स्टेप सबका इंक्लूडेड है एक्सेप्ट फॉर डॉटर का. ठीक है. सी व्हाट इज द लॉजिक? अब दिस इज गिवन इन लॉ, है ना? सो एंड स्टूडेंट्स नाउ डोंट गिव मी MCQs टू सॉल्व. अब इसके अलावा जो भी है, दैट इज नॉट अ रिलेटिव फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ कंपनीज एक्ट 2013. दिस डेफिनेशन इज गिवन इन क्लॉज 77, है ना? अब यू ऑल हैव स्टार्टेड ड्राफ्टिंग क्वेश्चंस फॉर मी. अच्छा, ये रिलेटिव है, ये रिलेटिव है, जो मेंशन है ये रिलेटिव है. ठीक है. So relative तो बहुत सारे होते हैं, but for the specific act, like for the Companies Act, clause 77 में it has been given कि all these persons shall be considered as relative. Yes. So yes, I also know that step son is covered, but step daughter is not covered. So that is the law which has been made. ठीक है. ठीक है. So now the person, so let us have a look at this. अब ये relative वाले definition से बाहर आ जाओ, है ना? ठीक है. It is law. आलोक is saying yes ma'am, it is law. ठीक है. अब ये example पे concentrate करो, a very important point. ठीक है. तो हमारा client कौन था? XY ABC Limited is the client. जहां पर हम क्या देख रहे हैं? That if XY are the partners, then अगर Mr. X या मिसेस एक्स या मिस्टर वाई if they are holding any security. So जिस पर्सन की एलिजिबिलिटी देखनी है ना, मिस्टर एक्स की एलिजिबिलिटी देखनी है, तो सिर्फ वो ही सिक्योरिटी अगर हेल्ड करते हैं इन एलिजिबिलिटी नहीं आएगी, उनकी वाइफ या उनके फादर मदर जो भी इसके अंदर रिलेटिव में है, या उनके पार्टनर भी अगर कोई भी सिक्योरिटी, बीट डिबेंचर, बीट इक्विटी शेयर, बीट प्रेफरेंसेस, एनी सिक्योरिटी और इंटरेस्ट, एनी सिक्योरिटी और इंटरेस्ट कहां पर, एबीसी लिमिटेड में, एबीसी लिमिटेड में तो देखना ही है, बट और कहां पर, सो जस्ट अ मिनट, एबीसी लिमिटेड की सब्सिडरी में, एबीसी लिमिटेड की होल्डिंग में, एबीसी लिमिटेड की एसोसिएट में, एबीसी लिमिटेड की जो होल्डिंग है उसकी और कोई सब्सिडरी है तो उधर, फॉर एग्जांपल ए बी सी है, सो एबीसी लिमिटेड इज, ठीक है, इट हैज अ सब्सिडरी, इट हैज अ होल्डिंग एमएनओ, एंड एमएनओ के अंदर देयर इज अनदर सब्सिडरी यूवीडब्ल्यू। तो आपको यहां पर एलिजिबिलिटी देखनी है ना, तो होल्डिंग यहां पर कवर कर दिया ना, होल्डिंग में है, सब्सिडरी में या इसकी सब्सिडरी में है, एंड सब्सिडरी ऑफ द होल्डिंग, सब्सिडरी ऑफ द होल्डिंग, ठीक है, तो भी देयर विल बी व्हाट, इन एलिजिबिलिटी फॉर मिस्टर एक्स टू बी अपॉइंटेड एज ऑडिटर ऑफ एबीसी लिमिटेड, ठीक है, ठीक है. So let us read it from the module. So it says, a person or his relative or a partner is holding any security of or interest in the company or its subsidiary or its holding or associate or subsidiary of such holding. So that person will be what? Ineligible. यहां था ना, the following person shall not be eligible to be appointed as the auditor. तो यहां person में कौन आ गया? Mr. X. So if the person himself, Mr. X, or his relative Mrs. X, or father of Mr. X, कोई भी example ले लो, or partner Mr. Y, is holding any security or interest in the company or subsidiary or holding or associate or subsidiary of such holding. तो इन एलिजिबिलिटी कहां आ जाएगी? दैट सी एक्स और मिस्टर एक्स कैन नॉट बी अपॉइंटेड एज द ऑडिटर ऑफ एबीसी लिमिटेड, ठीक है. सो जो अब यहां मेंशन है ना वही कवर्ड है. अब आप मेरे को बहुत सारे एमसीक्यूज ड्राफ्ट करके दे रहे हो. सो होल्डिंग, इट इज मेंशन होल्डिंग या सब्सिडरी या एसोसिएट और सब्सिडरी ऑफ सच होल्डिंग एंड द कंपनी. अगर उसमें आप कोई भी सिक्योरिटी आप या आपका कोई रिलेटिव या पार्टनर होल्ड करता है, देन यू आर नॉट एलिजिबल टू बी अपॉइंटेड एज एन ऑडिटर ऑफ दैट कंपनी, ठीक है, ठीक है. इज इट क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है. नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दिस पॉइंट देयर इज एन एक्सेप्शन. देयर इज एन एक्सेप्शन. तो अब क्या एक्सेप्शन है? ये एक्सेप्शन किसको दिया गया? रिलेटिव के लिए, रिलेटिव, ठीक है. सो इट सेज दैट इफ द रिलेटिव होल्ड्स अ सिक्योरिटी अप टू like not exceeding the face value of rupees 1 lakh. So in our example, Mrs. X can hold the shares of the company not exceeding face value. So again, very important for your true false MCQ. This is not the market value. Market value kuch bhi ho. This is about face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakhs. Then ineligibility won't be attracted. ठीक है, क्लियर है इतना पॉइंट? एक और पॉइंट है इसमें, पहले बताओ ये क्लियर है? let us just have a look at it at the module. It may be noted that the relative may hold security or interest in the company of the face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. ठीक है, not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. So Bidhan, no Delhi NCR. ठीक है. So not exceeding rupees 1 lakh, Mrs. X in our example can hold the shares. Now, let's say Mrs. X was holding shares with a face value of 1 lakh. Later on, certain bonus shares were issued to her. And the face value, let us say, it exceeds to, it reaches 1 lakh 10,000. Then it says that if the relative is holding, or in the event of acquiring any security above this threshold limit of 1 lakh, then in this case, a grace period of 60 days will be given to the auditor to take corrective action. कि जब से आपने acquire किया है ना, तो Mr. X will make sure that within 60 days from that acquisition, such additional shares are either sold or they are transferred. ठीक है? So these are what? These are corrective action is taken. Corrective action is taken within the 60 days from the date of acquisition of shares. अब आपका देखो true false MCQ इधर बहुत जगह बन सकता है ना. You may get a question की market value है ना, market value 5 lakhs है, तो बताओ whether in eligibility आएगी या नहीं. दो face value 90,000 ही है. ठीक है, एक तो ये वाला टॉपिक है जहां पर यू मे गेट एमसीक्यू और ट्रू फॉल्स है ना. देन ये 60 डेज की 50 डेज 120 डेज है ना. सो करेक्टिव एक्शन ले सकते हैं या नहीं. ठीक है. एंड स्टूडेंट्स, दिस एक्सेप्शन इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल फॉर मिस्टर एक्स और मिस्टर वाई. तो पार्टनर या पर्सन हिमसेल्फ कैन नॉट होल्ड अ सिक्योरिटी ऑफ इवन ₹1. जैसे ही इवन अ सिंगल रुपी की सिक्योरिटी हेल्ड की, एट दैट मोमेंट देयर विल बी इनएलिजिबिलिटी. सो दिस एक्सेप्शन इज गिवन टू रिलेटिव 1 लाख वाला जो है फेस वैल्यू है ना. ऑल्सो जो 60 डेज का करेक्टिव पीरियड है, दैट इज ऑल्सो ओनली गिवन टू अ रिलेटिव. तो पार्टनर को या द पर्सन हिमसेल्फ, नो एक्सेप्शन इज देयर है ना. तो इसके ऊपर आपके बहुत सारे एमसीक्यूज ट्रू फॉल्स के सिनेरियो बन सकते हैं. सो आई हैव टोल्ड यू कि क्या क्या टॉपिक पे बन सकता है. एक तो ये मार्केट वैल्यू वाले पॉइंट पे कि आपको मार्केट वैल्यू दिया जाएगा क्वेश्चन में विच इज मोर देन 1 लाख बट फेस वैल्यू लेस देन 1 लाख है. ठीक है. देन यू मे गेट अ क्वेश्चन ये 60 डेज के लिए. देन यू मे गेट अ क्वेश्चन कि मिस्टर एक्स ने होल्ड किया एंड विद इन 30 डेज he has sold those securities. तो ये एक्सेप्शन मिस्टर एक्स को, लाइक द पर्सन हिमसेल्फ, उसको तो मिलेगा ही नहीं ना. ये तो रिलेटिव के केस में है. तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अभी भी कुछ समझ नहीं आया तो यू कैन ऑलवेज send in your queries, but before that एक बारी मॉड्यूल से पढ़ते हैं. I'm sure it is going to be very much clear to you. ठीक है. So it says that students may know that in the event of acquiring any security or interest by a relative above the threshold limit क्या था 1 lakh, the corrective action to maintain the limits as specified above shall be taken by the auditor within 60 days of such acquisition or interest. Within 60 days of such acquisition or interest है ना. So what are the important points in this regard? See, the value of ₹1 lakh that can be held by relative is face value, not market value. Market as very very important है ना. Then the limit of ₹1 lakh would be applicable where the securities are held by relative of an auditor and where the securities are held by auditor himself or his, and not where the securities are held by the auditor himself or his partner. In case the auditor or his partner, in case of the auditor or his partner, securities of even a small value will call for a disqualification. Again, very, very important. ठीक है. Then grace period of 60 days for corrective action shall apply only in respect of securities held by relatives. This would not apply to auditors or his partner. Again, very, very important है ना. अब दिस इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट है ना, एंड इजी है ना. थोड़ा सा आप समझोगे क्लॉजेस को, यू आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड देम. अरे वो तो मैंने जस्ट एक एग्जांपल दिया ना प्रणव. तो लेट्स से यहां पर ही मिसेस एक्स मिसेस एक्स यहीं पर 1.2 लाख के शेयर्स अगर यहाँ पे परचेज कर देती है तो यहाँ पे इनएलिजिबिलिटी आ जाएगी. नाउ it is on Mr. X that on the date of acquisition उसके 60 days के अंदर he needs to take the corrective action. ठीक है. So this was just an example कि let's say bonus shares issue हो गए. ठीक है. 20,000 के extra face value के. ठीक है. Janish, your doubt is not clear. Your query is not clear. Please send it again. So, Mr. Murtaja, with respect to your doubt, देखो, you are saying that if a partner of the firm is the officer of the company, तो बाकी सारे partners जो हैं आपके वो clause number C में ineligibility आ गई ना. आप कह रहे हो CAX is the officer of the company, तो CAY CAZ उसके partner ही तो है ना, तो ineligibility will be attracted there. ठीक है. indebtedness वाला point अभी हम करेंगे. Yes, you all must have done it in company law also. ठीक है. So ये समझ आया पहला क्लॉज. अभी तीनों पॉइंट्स देखते हैं, then I'll take up the rest of the doubts. ठीक है. ठीक है. So if the person or the relative or the partner is holding any security in the company subsidiary, its holding is associate or subsidiary or subsidiary of such holding, then ineligibility will be there for that person. ठीक है. Now the second point which says that the following person shall not to be eligible to be appointed as auditor of the company if that person, relative or partner is indebted to the same company, subsidiary, holding, associate or subsidiary of the holding in excess of rupees 5 lakhs. Indebted का क्या मतलब है? That ये जो person है या जो उसका relative है या जो उसका पार्टनर है ना, दे ओ उधार लिया हुआ है कंपनी से या सब्सिडरी से या होल्डिंग से या एसोसिएट से या सब्सिडरी ऑफ होल्डिंग से इन एक्सेस ऑफ रुपीज 5 लाख. तो 5 लाख तक है या उससे कम है, देन इट इज फाइन, नो इन एलिजिबिलिटी. बट इन एक्सेस ऑफ रुपीज 5 लाख है, देन मिस्टर एक्स इज नॉट एलिजिबल टू बी अपॉइंटेड एज द ऑडिटर ऑफ एबीसी लिमिटेड. ठीक है. इन डेटेड का क्या मतलब है? ओ है ना, दैट पर्सन ओज है ना. लेट्स से इट दैट पर्सन हैज टेकन सम लोन, उधार लिया हुआ है. ठीक है. देन इट विल बी व्हाट, एन इनएलिजिबिलिटी फॉर दैट पर्सन. ठीक है. नाउ द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, थर्ड पॉइंट सेज दैट द फॉलोइंग पर्सन शैल नॉट आर नॉट एलिजिबल इफ दैट पर्सन, द रिलेटिव or the partner has given guarantee or security in connection with indebtedness of any third person. ठीक है. तो लेट्स से मिस्टर एक्स की बात हो रही है. मिस्टर एक्स ने गारंटी दिया हुआ है किसको? कंपनी को, एबीसी लिमिटेड को या उसके सब्सिडरी को या होल्डिंग को या एसोसिएट को या सब्सिडरी ऑफ होल्डिंग को, कि लेट्स से अगर मिस्टर राम आपको पेमेंट नहीं करते हैं ना, थर्ड पर्सन है ना मिस्टर राम यहां पर, तो I'll pay it. And that amount exceeds rupees 1 lakh. 1 lakh tak, again, it is fine. In excess of rupees 1 lakh, there will be ineligibility. There will be ineligibility. Okay? So let us have a look at it from the module again. So what was section 143 subsection 3? It says that following person shall not be eligible for appointment as an auditor of the company. So a person who his relative or partner is indebted to the company or its subsidiary or its holding, associate or subsidiary of such holding in excess of rupees 5 lakh. Again, really very, very important, है ना? आपको सीधा सीधा ये 5 lakh के ऊपर भी तो आ सकता है ना question MCQ true false. And the third point says, has given guarantee or provided any security in connection with indebtedness of any third person, again to the company, subsidiary, holding, associate, subsidiary of such holding in excess of rupees 1 lakh. Okay. Then again, Mr. X is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. Now be with me. Answer to this question number 1. Please do not look at the answer that is given in your module. है ना? अभी basic understanding तो मिल गई है ना? Based on that only try to answer these questions. I'm sure you will be able to answer them correctly. बहुत केयरफुली रीड करना, बिकॉज कहीं ना कुछ एक छोटी सी बात लिखी होती है जो आप मिस आउट कर जाते हो, एंड ऑन दैट थिंग ओनली द एंटायर आंसर इज डिपेंडेंट, है ना? सो रीड इट केयरफुली. मीनवाइल आई विल हैव अ लुक एट योर क्वेरीज. So Pranav, chapter number 9 के questions you can ask me at the end of the session, like before the session ends, and if I forget, please remind me. So I've told you na, Aman. Just a minute. Others, please go through the question number 1 and send in your replies. So subsidiary of holding का क्या मतलब है? तो अगर आप simple terms में देखो, simple A, let's say it is a holding company and इसकी holding है B और C, and अभी B limited की बात हो रही है, ठीक है? So subsidiary of holding, ठीक है अमन? Is it clear? Subsidiary, another subsidiary of holding. So quickly send in your replies. Meanwhile, I'll just answer all your queries. So Murtaza, is your doubt clear? So Alok, with respect to your MCQ that you have given to me, so the answer is no. Aman, is your doubt clear? So Khojema, see, we have to see in INR only now. तो उसमें ये रुपीज 5 lakhs में देखना है ना, तो आप उसको कन्वर्ट करके देखोगे. सो अगर इट एक्सीड्स 5 lakh देन ineligibility will be there. ठीक है? So let me just discuss it with you. So Mr. A, a practicing chartered accountant, is holding securities of XYZ Limited having face value of only rupees 900. Whether Mr. A is qualified to be appointed as an auditor of the company. तो देखो, Mr. A जिसको अपॉइंट करना है उन्होंने ही securities hold की हुई हैं, and you all know that for Mr. A or the partner of Mr. A there is no exception. So in the present case, since Mr. A is holding rupees 900, so therefore he is not eligible. क्योंकि हमने पढ़ा था ना, even a smaller amount का भी अगर security held किया हुआ है, then ineligibility will be there. Now answer to question number 3. Point number 2 is your homework. Read question number 3. Quickly send in your replies. So उसे कैसे प्रेजेंट करना है? ठीक है मिस्टर वोहरा, वी विल रीड द आंसर गिवन फॉर दिस थर्ड, then you will be able to know as to how to answer in exam. So Anuradha, which topic have you missed? So it won't be possible for me to repeat all the topics that we have covered so far. So let us read this point. Messrs. BC and Company is an audit firm having partners of Mr. B and Mr. C. Mr. A is relative of Mr. C. Mr. A, the relative of Mr. C, is holding securities of MWF Limited having a face value of rupees 1,01,000. So Mr. A, जो relative of Mr. C है, he is holding the securities. Whether Messrs. BC and Company is qualified for being appointed as an auditor of MWF Limited. ठीक है? So as per section 141 subsection 3 clause D point I, a person is disqualified to be appointed as auditor if he or his relative or partner is holding any security of or interest in the company or its subsidiary, holding, associate, subsidiary of such holding. Further, as per provision to this section, the relative of the person may hold securities in the company of the face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. In the instant case, Messrs. BC and Company will be disqualified for appointment as auditor of MWF Limited as the relative Mr. C, that is partner of Messrs. Of the CA firm, is holding securities which is exceeding the limit mentioned in the proviso. See students, यहाँ पर mention नहीं है ना कि उन्होंने within 60 days sell कर दिया या कुछ, है ना? तो that is why जो question में information क्या दिया हुआ है कि he is holding those securities, है ना? So based on this situation, there is what? Disqualification. ठीक है? Now, for Mr. Vora, he is asking as to how to write the answers. देखो ऐसे तो लिखना है ना आपको कि ये provision है. Question में ये दिया गया है. And based on the provision given in the question of the relevant section, this should be the answer. ठीक है? Clear? है ना? सो आपने यही तो लिखा ना, पहले आपने लॉ को बता दिया क्या लॉ है, फिर आपने बताया कि इंस्टेंट केस में ऐसा हो रहा है, तो दिस शुड बी द आंसर. सो दिस इज द वे हाउ यू विल प्रेजेंट द आंसर. ठीक है? कन्हैया, प्लीज टेक योर आंसर. ठीक है? Now, read this also. Example 4. So example number 2 is your homework. So see, Messrs. RM and Company is an audit firm having partners CAR and CAM. The firm has been offered the appointment as an auditor of N Limited for the financial year 16-17. Mr. B, the relative of CAR, is holding 5,000 shares, face value 50, and the market value is 1,50,000. Whether Messrs. RM and Company is disqualified to be appointed as an auditor of the company? Quickly send in your replies. Quickly send in your replies. Yes, Bidhan, you have answered correctly कि पहले reference देना to the provision, then analysis देना है question का, and then the conclusion. ठीक है? So this is the catch here, that the face value is not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. This 1,50,000 is what? Market value. है ना? So therefore, the firm is eligible. So it is mentioned here. So RM and Company is not disqualified for appointment as the relative CAR is holding the securities which is within the limits mentioned in proviso to this section of the Companies Act 2013. Clear है? ठीक है? Is it clear? ठीक है? तो अभी तक हमने क्या देखा? सेक्शन 141 में Let us just quickly recap. हमने क्या देखा? 141 is about the eligibility, qualification and disqualification of an auditor. So we have seen that subsection 1 says that a person can be appointed as an auditor only if he is a chartered accountant. And अगर firm of auditors है, then the majority of the partners practicing in India should be qualified as aforesaid. मतलब जो ऊपर कहा गया है, क्या कहा गया है कि chartered accountant होना चाहिए. Then second point says in case of a firm including LLP, the person, the partner who is a chartered accountant, he is authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. ठीक है. Section 141 subsection 3 along with rule 10 of the company's auditor and auditors rule 2014 में अभी तक हमने 4 points पढ़े हैं. First is that the following persons are not eligible, which includes what? A body corporate other than an LLP, an officer or employee of the company, a partner or employee of officer or employee of the company, a person where a person, a relative or partner is holding any security in company, subsidiary, holding, associate or subsidiary of such holding, or if that person, relative or partner is indebted to the company, subsidiary, holding, associate, subsidiary of holding in excess of rupees 5 lakhs, or had given a guarantee security in connection with indebtedness of any third person. देखो third person ने नहीं पे किया तो मतलब मिस्टर एक्स को ही पे करना है ना, to company, subsidiary, holding, associate or subsidiary of such holding in excess of rupees 1 lakh. और ये जो सिक्योरिटी वाला पॉइंट है, यहाँ पर हमने एक एक्सेप्शन देखा फॉर रिलेटिव, दैट इज 1 लाख फेस वैल्यू तक मिसेस एक्स कैन होल्ड, and if it exceeds, then within 60 days of acquisition of such interest, the corrective action needs to be taken. Clear? ठीक है? Is it clear? So Anuradha, this recap was for you. I hope it is now clear. ठीक है? So we have done till point D. ठीक है? So now the next point says that a person is not eligible if. So this is talking about the person or the firm, है ना? So या तो हम क्या बोल रहे हैं, CAX का अपॉइंटमेंट देख रहे हो आप, or you're talking about let's say appointment of MNO and associates, a firm. ठीक है? If that person, the CA himself or the firm is having what? Business relationship directly or indirectly with the company, the subsidiary, the holding, the associate, the subsidiary of the holding or associate. So here this is an additional point. तो हमने क्या पढ़ा? Let us just look at it from the module, then we will discuss it. So it says that a person or a firm who whether directly or indirectly has business relationship with the company, its subsidiary, its holding, its associate or subsidiary of such holding or associate company of such nature as may be prescribed. And as may be prescribed है तो कहाँ पर जाओ? रूल्स में जाओ. रूल 10 है ना, हमने डिस्कस किया that 141 subsection 3 के साथ we'll be studying rule 10 of the company's auditor and auditors rule 2014. ठीक है? So if Mr. X is having any business relationship with ABC Limited, continuing with our previous example, so if CAX is having any business relationship with ABC Limited, then CAX is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of ABC Limited. ठीक है? Now tell me, let's say ABC Limited जो है ना, it is an airline company. So if CAX buys a ticket of ABC's airline, tell me, will it be construed as having a business relationship? तो क्या इनएलिजिबिलिटी आ जाएगी? तो मतलब अगर ABC लिमिटेड का लेट्स से विस्तारा एयरलाइंस है, तो क्या CAX कभी भी विस्तारा एयरलाइन से ट्रैवल नहीं कर सकता? बिकॉज इनएलिजिबिलिटी विल बी अट्रैक्टेड. तो within 60 days है ना, ऑडिट चल रहा है, लेट्स से प्रणव, एंड मिस्टर एक्स gets he becomes aware कि 1 लाख से ऊपर चला गया लिमिटेड, तो जब से एक्वायर किया उसके विद इन 60 डेज, है ना प्रणव, इज इट क्लियर? सो दिस इज नॉट व्हाट बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप। ऐसे तो फिर आप जो एबीसी लिमिटेड का लेट्स से एबीसी लिमिटेड इट्स लेट्स से टेलीकॉम में भी है, तो इसका क्या सिम का भी यूज नहीं कर सकते? तो ऐसा नहीं है, ठीक है। सो इट सेज दैट अ पर्सन और अ फर्म हु वेदर डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली हैज बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप विद द कंपनी, सब्सिडरी, इट्स होल्डिंग, associate, subsidiary of such holding or associate company of such nature as may prescribe। अब ये क्या बताया गया है कि बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप को डिफाइन किया गया है, that the business relationship shall be construed at any transaction entered into for a commercial purpose, जहां पर आपने कुछ पैसा देके कुछ सामान खरीदा है, कुछ सर्विस ली है, एक्सेप्ट देखो अब एक्स की बात हो रही है, सीए एक्स की एंड एबीसी लिमिटेड की। तो इट सेज दैट लेट्स से एबीसी लिमिटेड एयरलाइंस कंपनी है और उसकी टिकट सीए एक्स परचेज करता है इन द ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस एट आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस। आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस क्या होता है? द प्राइस एट विच द सेम इज बीन अवेलेबल टू एन अनरिलेटेड पार्टी, है ना, किसी भी अनरिलेटेड पार्टी को जिस पे भी एबीसी लिमिटेड विल सेल, उसी प्राइस पे सीए एक्स को भी मिला है इन द ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस, तो it will not be considered as having business relationship. So I am reading the second point first. The commercial transactions, so it says that business relationship shall be considered as any transaction entered into for a commercial purpose, कि जहां पर भी आपने पैसा दिया, आपने टिकट लिया, तो वो तो आपका included है, except, so what is this exception? Commercial transactions which are in the ordinary course of business of the company at arm's length price, like sale of product services to the auditor as a customer in the ordinary course of business by companies engaged in the business of telecommunications, airlines, hospitals, hotels and such other similar businesses। तो अगर आप सिम परचेज करते हो तो वो बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप नहीं है, अगर आप एयरलाइंस का टिकट लेते हो वो बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप नहीं है, उस हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट होते तो बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप नहीं है, उस होटल में जाके इफ यू हैव अ डिनर देन इट इज नॉट अ बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप, प्रोवाइडेड the services that are given to CAX is what, as that service is given to him as a customer in the ordinary course of business and at arm's length price. Same way, see, CAX is also providing certain services now. So if CAX, let's say CAX is providing tax audit service, तो क्या ineligibility आ जाएगा? देखो स्टूडेंट्स, we will be discussing section 144, है ना, where there are a list of services which are prohibited. The auditors cannot give those services to the client organization, ठीक है, और if they are giving those services to the client organization, they are not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company, ठीक है, but tax audit is a permitted service, तो क्या ये business relationship हो जाएगा? The answer is no. So commercial transactions which are in the nature of professional services permitted to be rendered by the auditor or audit firm under the act or the CA Act 1949 or the rules regulations made thereunder, है ना। तो अगर सीए कोई अपनी सर्विस प्रोवाइड कर रहा है विच इज परमिटेड, है ना, सेम वे अगर कोई क्लाइंट जो था एबीसी लिमिटेड that is providing any product or service as a customer at ALP in the ordinary course of business, so this shall not be considered as what? Business relationship. Clear है? ठीक है ज्योति, नो, अच्छा रुको, इस पे डाउट है, ये मैं डिस्कस करती हूँ अभी, पहले ये बताओ ये पॉइंट क्लियर है? ठीक है, सो दिस वाज द ई पॉइंट। देखो वो जो 60 डेज है ना, 60 डेज का करेक्टिव पीरियड जो है वो फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ एक्विजिशन ऑफ द इंटरेस्ट और सिक्योरिटी है ना, even in the event of acquiring any security or interest by relative above the threshold limited, the corrective action to maintain the limits shall be taken by the auditor within 60 days of the acquisition of such interest। यहां पर acceptance of engagement कहां से आ गया? ठीक है, so let's say CAX is there, है ना, he wants to see whether he is eligible to be appointed as an auditor of ABC Limited। अभी अपॉइंटमेंट नहीं हुआ है। Now he is aware कि Mrs. X is holding securities exceeding the face value of 1 lakh, तो अभी he is not eligible, है ना, so he will make sure that before the appointment he will take the corrective action. ठीक है, before the appointment he takes the corrective action. ठीक है, now let's say the firm is appointed, ऑडिट चल रहा है, ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ ऑडिट ऑडिटर को पता चलता है सीएक्स को कि भाई ऐसे बोनस शेयर्स भी मिले हैं जिससे कि फेस वैल्यू एक्सीड हो गई है 1 लाख. Now, from the date of that acquisition, a grace period of 60 days has been given to CX to take the corrective action. ठीक है, is it clear? नहीं, internal audit service खोजे माँ, auditor statutory auditor cannot की. We will see section 144 after the break. वहां पर आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा कि what all are the permitted services and what basically it gives the services which are not permitted. है ना? So there is a list, so that services cannot be given by the statutory auditor. ठीक है, तो क्विकली हम देखते हैं. हमने 141 सबसेक्शन 3 में रूल 10 के साथ क्या पढ़ा है. बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट अदर देन एलएलपी, ऑफिसर और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी, अ पर्सन हु इज अ पार्टनर और इज एम्प्लॉयमेंट ऑफ ऑफिसर और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी. ठीक है, डी में क्या पढ़ा हमने. पर्सन, रिलेटिव या पार्टनर कोई 3 काम करते हैं. क्या? होल्डिंग एनी सिक्योरिटी और इंटरेस्ट. कहाँ? 5 कंपनीज में. कंपनी, इट्स सब्सिडरी, इट्स होल्डिंग, इट्स एसोसिएट और सब्सिडरी ऑफ सच होल्डिंग. ठीक है, यार इंडेटेड है इन एक्सेस ऑफ 5 lakhs. कौन लोग? पर्सन, रिलेटिव, पार्टनर. कहाँ? इन 5 कंपनीज में. या गिवन अ गारंटी ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ अ थर्ड पार्टी. किसको? अगेन कंपनी, सब्सिडरी, होल्डिंग, एसोसिएट, सब्सिडरी ऑफ सच होल्डिंग. किस, कौन दे रहा है? पर्सन, रिलेटिव या पार्टनर. इन एक्सेस ऑफ ₹1 लाख तो इनएलिजिबिलिटी आ जाएगा. बट रिलेटिव के लिए देयर इज एन एक्सेप्शन कि अगर सिक्योरिटी होल्ड करते हैं विद द फेस वैल्यू नॉट एक्सीडिंग 1 लाख देन इट इज फाइन. इफ इट एक्सीड्स देन 60 डेज का ग्रेस पीरियड दिया फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ एक्विजिशन ऑफ सच एडिशनल अबव द थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट. थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट तक है तब तक तो फाइन ही है ना. उससे ऊपर अगर चला जाता है, जिस डेट पे वो ऊपर गया है, from that date 60 days का corrective the grace period to take the corrective action has been given. ठीक है, उसके बाद ई पॉइंट में हमने क्या पढ़ा. that where the person or the firm, whether directly or indirectly, they have any business relationship with again all those 5 companies along with an addition of what? Subsidiary of the associate company also. ठीक है, is it clear? Clear है? ठीक है, so we will do one thing, we will take a break of 10 minutes here and uske baad we'll be further continuing with this section and we'll be completing this section and starting with another important section which is section 139. ठीक है, कोई doubt है तो भेजो उसको before going for the break and be back after 10 minutes. So अशोक, break हो गया. So students, welcome back after the break. And students, I can see there are three students raising the same query, Dhanupriya, Yatiraj and Alok. So you just answer to me, Dhanupriya, aap batao. So she's saying whether if one relative is holding 70,000, the other is also holding 70,000. So whether aggregate will be seen or individually. Okay? So as such, in the section itself, there is no clarification. But if you look at the intention, what is the intention? कि जो total interest है ना client organization में, किसका relative of CAX का जो relative है, ठीक है, जो भी interest है ना that should not exceed 1 lakh face value. तो ये एग्रीगेट में भी तो देखेंगे ना, बिकॉज CAX को तो इंटरेस्ट आ जाएगा ना, इनडायरेक्ट इंटरेस्ट देख रहे हो ना आप. सो इफ इट इज 70,000 बीइंग हेल्ड बाय मदर, 70,000 बीइंग हेल्ड बाय फादर, तो यहां पर भी एग्रीगेट में देखेंगे, दो इट इज व्हाट, इट इज नॉट क्लैरिफाइड इन द सेक्शन. ठीक है. सो धनीप्रिया, यतिराज एंड आलोक, आर योर डाउट्स क्लियर? टेल मी. बिकॉज हम क्या देखना चाह रहे हैं, देखो लिमिट है कि इतना इंटरेस्ट है, इतने शेयर्स हैं तो ठीक है ना. सो इनडायरेक्ट इंटरेस्ट अगर आप देखो तो वो तो इन टोटलिटी शुड भी इतना ओनली ना. ये थोड़ी ना होगा कि 1 लाख उसने भी होल्ड कर लिया, 1 लाख उसने भी, इफ देयर आर 10 रिलेटिव्स, 10 ने 1 लाख होल्ड कर लिया अगर, तो फिर तो इंटेंशन ऑफ द लॉ विल नॉट बी लाइक मेट ना. क्या इंटेंशन है? यही तो इंटेंशन है ना कि इनडायरेक्ट इंटरेस्ट बस इतना होना चाहिए. ठीक है. So Dhanipriya, you also reply, is it clear? Alok and Yatiraj saying, ma'am, it is clear. So though it is not clarified as such in the section को आप read करोगे तो it just says this only. ठीक है. Now the next point, तो 141 subsection 3 में हमने क्या पढ़ा था? पहला, body corporate other than LLP are not eligible. Officer, employee, a person who is partner or employee of officer or employee of the company, then person, relative या partner is either holding any security or interest in 5 companies, is indebted to the company in excess of 5 lakhs or has given a guarantee for a third person in excess of 1 lakh. कहां पर? कंपनी, सब्सिडरी, होल्डिंग, एसोसिएट, सब्सिडरी ऑफ सच होल्डिंग. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट हमने क्या पढ़ा? पर्सन या फर्म डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप में है, किसके साथ? इधर अगेन 5 कंपनीज तो है वो, कंपनी, सब्सिडरी, एसोसिएट, होल्डिंग, देन सब्सिडरी ऑफ द होल्डिंग और द एसोसिएट कंपनी ऑल्सो. लेकिन अगर उसमें नॉर्मल कोर्स में, ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस में यू आर गिविंग सर्टेन सर्विसेज, परमिटेड सर्विसेज, अगर सीए इज रेंडरिंग, दैट इज अलाउड. Same way, अगर that client is giving certain product services in the ordinary course of business as a customer at ALP, then that is allowed. ठीक है. Clear? ठीक है. Is it clear? Now the next point, it says that, so the following person shall not be eligible if a person whose relative is a director or KMP. So if we go back to our CAX का example, कि वो ABC Limited में, whether he can be appointed as an auditor of that company or not, if Mrs. X is a director in ABC Limited, so again here Mr. X cannot be appointed as an auditor of this company. ठीक है. So the person whose relative is a director or KMP. So let us have a look at it from the module. So the what is mentioned above, that the following persons are not eligible. A person whose relative is a director is in employment of the company. अब यहाँ किसकी बात हो रही है? Company. As a director or key managerial persons. ठीक है. Or is in employment of the company as a director or KMP. So if Mrs. X is let's say a director in the company ABC Limited, then Mr. X cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company. ठीक है. Now the next point, it says that, see, whenever I have discussed with you, or in the chapter number 1 we have discussed कि auditor is giving an expert opinion, है ना. एंड क्वालिटी पे हम बहुत ध्यान देते हैं ना, SQC1 भी है, ठीक है. नाउ टेल मी, इफ अ पर्सन is in full-time employment elsewhere, he is working, let's say 9 to 6 somewhere else, so can he give quality work if he's been appointed as an auditor of a company? So the answer is no. Okay. So the next ineligibility criteria is what? That if a person, so if Mr. X, who is a chartered accountant, okay, but he's in full-time employment elsewhere, so he cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company. Okay. और देखो, आप इस पॉइंट को समझने के लिए ना, आप ये देखो क्वालिटी वर्क मिलना चाहिए, ठीक है. सो लेट्स से इफ द पर्सन ही इज नॉट अपॉइंटेड समवेयर एल्स, he is a chartered accountant having a certificate of practice, ठीक है, but he's already so much occupied with the statutory audits कि इतना काम कर ले, that is sufficient. So a limit has been given which says that a person or a partner of the firm holding appointment as its partner on the date of such appointment, holding appointment as auditor of more than 20 companies. अगर आपके पास already 20 companies का audit है, then you cannot be appointed as an auditor of the next company. Again, point क्या है? Quality work deliver होना चाहिए, ठीक है. Now there are certain exceptions कि 20 companies में ना कुछ companies को include नहीं करेंगे, ठीक है. There are certain exceptions, ठीक है. So why exception? देखो, if a person is having, let's say, audit of 20 public limited company vis-a-vis a person who is having audit of 21 person company, तो कितना difference है ना in the level of working, है ना. So the companies that are not to be included in this limit of 20 companies are what? One person company, dormant companies, small company, or private company having the paid up share capital of less than 100 crores. तो इनको include नहीं करना है when this 20 limit is to be calculated. तो ये point समझने के लिए क्या देखना है कि आप quality work deliver कर सकते हो, because see, when you are giving an audit report, you are representing your profession. तो quality work should be there, है ना. हमने chapter number 1 में बहुत पढ़ा है with respect to what? SQC1, है ना. So a person who is in full-time employment elsewhere, or a person or partner of the firm who is holding on the date of such appointment, देखना पड़ेगा, if they are holding the appointment as auditor of more than 20 companies, तो 20 companies तक the auditor can take the statutory audit, ठीक है. Now अगर partner, if there are 3 partners, है ना, तो क्या limit हो जाएगी? 3 partners, they can have what? 20 audits, 60 audits, ठीक है. So let us have a look at it from the module. A person who is in full-time employment, तो पहले क्या लिखा था? 143 subsection G, read with Rule 10 of Companies Audit Auditor Rule 2014, that a person shall not be eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if that person who is in full-time employment elsewhere, or the person or the partner of the firm holding appointment as its auditor, if such person or partner is at the date of such appointment, जिस date को appointment हो रहा है ना, उस date को that person or the partner will check कि मेरे पास 20 audit है, तो मेरे को अपने नाम पे audit नहीं लेना है. और ये appointment, hold appointment as auditor of more than 20 companies, other than, कौन से companies will not be included? One person company, dormant company, small company, private companies having paid up share capital less than rupees 100 crores. Clear है? Individually, like a partner individually can have 20 audits. Like the limit per partner will be 20. ठीक है? Is it clear? Is it clear? ठीक है? Now the next point says that the person shall not be eligible to be appointed as an auditor if he has been convicted by court of offense involving a fraud and a period of 10 years have not elapsed from the date of such conviction. तो अगर आपको, if you have been convicted by a court of offense for fraud and a period of 10 years has not been elapsed, अगर 10 साल हो चुके हैं when you were convicted, है ना. So conviction can be what? Fine भी हो सकता है, imprisonment भी हो सकता है ना. है ना? So if any such thing has happened and a period of 10 years have elapsed, 10 साल हो चुके हैं, then there is no ineligibility. But अगर 10 साल अभी नहीं हुआ है, then there is what? Ineligibility. Clear? Is it clear? ठीक है. Now the next point, which is the last point, which says that a person is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor if that person directly or indirectly renders any service under section 144 to, अब here it is what? Company, holding or the subsidiary. To the company. So font size अब ठीक है. ठीक है. So Mr. Vora, is it fine now? So कहाँ पे थे हम? हाँ. So if a person is directly or indirectly rendering any services mentioned in section 144 to the company ABC Limited या इसका holding या इसका subsidiary, तो यहाँ पर these three companies में ही disqualification ineligibility will be there. ठीक है. Now section 144 क्या कहता है? अब ये पढ़ते हैं. ये बताओ, इतना clear है? Is it clear? So it says that the following shall not be eligible. So a person who directly or indirectly renders any service referred to in section 144 to the company or its holding or its subsidiary company, so that person shall not be eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. So when I started this session, one of the students said, when I asked you to think as to क्या eligibility, qualification या disqualification होएगा, one of the students said कि मैम bookkeeping नहीं करना चाहिए. अगर if you're providing bookkeeping, then the auditor cannot be appointed as an that person cannot be appointed as an auditor of that company. Absolutely correct. Self review threat आ जाएगा ना, चैप्टर नंबर 1 में सब पढ़ा है ना, सेल्फ रिव्यू थ्रेट, है ना? तो ऐसे ही इंटरनल ऑडिट से रिलेटेड आप नहीं, यू विल नॉट परफॉर्म द वर्क. व्हाई? बिकॉज इंटरनल ऑडिट को भी तो आप एग्जामिन करते हो ना, यू परफॉर्म द टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल्स. Clear? So one of you are saying, ma'am, internal audit कर सकते हैं? नहीं. So there is a list of various services, list of the services which are what the auditor cannot render. ठीक है. So what is that list? And then we will discuss about directly or indirectly. So accounting and bookkeeping services. अगर आपने accounting bookkeeping services ABC Limited को दिया है CAX ने, then he cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company. Internal audit किया है, then again you cannot be appointed as the statutory auditor of the company. Design implementation of any financial information system, जो भी financial information system जो accounting software है उसको design implementation करने में if you are involved, you cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company. Actuarial services, है ना? So what are actuarial services? The services relating to evaluation of financial impact of risk using range of mathematical and statistical methods. Like insurance companies में उनको देखना है ना, what is the financial impact of the risk that may be there, है ना, in future. So actuaries are appointed. So actuarial services भी अगर आपने provide किया, you cannot be appointed as the statutory auditor of the company. Investment advisory service. If you are given these services with respect to investment recommendation to the company, then again this person cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company. Investment banking services, है ना, आपने let's say mergers में public issues में help किया है company को, है ना? So any complex financial transaction में you have provided the services, so you cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company. Rendering of outsourced financial service, कोई भी outsourced financial service है, if you are providing that service to the client organization, you cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company. Management services, है ना, like your HR functions or any such function, है ना, any other kind of services ad may be prescribed. ठीक है? Is it clear? So I told you ना अनुराधा कि जैसे इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज में, है ना, देयर आर वेरियस इंश्योरेंस प्लान्स, है ना. सो किसका इम्पैक्ट, financial impact of the risk, these are calculated by performing various complex mathematical calculations and these are performed by actuaries. ठीक है? So is it clear अनुराधा? ठीक है. अब देखो हमने क्या पढ़ा कि अगर कोई पर्सन है तो CAX, if he is rendering all these services, so he cannot be appointed as auditor of the company, its subsidiary or its holding. Clear? इतना clear है? Now there is a word डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली, अब इसको समझते हैं, डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली, ठीक है, डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली, ठीक है. सो सी, लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस विद द हेल्प ऑफ एन एग्जांपल ऑफ फॉर्म. सो डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली के क्या मतलब है, अब हम देख रहे हैं कि वेदर एक्स वाई जेड एंड एसोसिएट्स कैन बी अपॉइंटेड एज एन ऑडिटर ऑफ व्हाट, of ABC Limited. So if any of the partners or any parent of this, let's say it is what, LLP, right, or any subsidiary or any associate or through any other entity in which the firm or any partner of the firm has significant influence or control, or whose name or trademark or brand is used by the firm or any of its partner, shall be termed as rendering services directly or indirectly by the auditor. तो अगर आपकी कोई फर्म है, with respect to that you are considering as to whether it is eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company, so even if that service, let's say this investment advisory service is provided by the holding of that firm, then also ineligibility आ जाएगा, ठीक है. Even if that service has been provided by any subsidiary or associate or through any other entity जहां पर किसी भी पार्टनर का significant influence है, right, या जिसका trademark that firm is using, even if that firm, let's say there is a firm in India and it is using a trademark of a firm in US. So if that US based firm is giving any of such, let's say the management services or outsourced financial service, then also XYZ, all the three partners, this firm cannot be appointed as the auditor of that company. Clear? Is it clear? So disqualification तो रहेगा ना जब तक आप सर्विस दे रहे हो, ठीक है. इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है, इज इट क्लियर? सो डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली, सो विद जस्ट अ मिनट, विद रेफरेंस टू सी, इन केस ऑफ एन ऑडिटर बीइंग एन इंडिविजुअल ईदर हिमसेल्फ और थ्रू हिज रिलेटिव, है ना, रिलेटिव अब आपको पता है क्या है, और एनी अदर पर्सन कनेक्टेड एसोसिएटेड विद सच इंडिविजुअल, or through any other entity whatsoever in which such individual has significant influence or control, or whose name, the entity whose name or trademark or brand is used by such individual, shall be termed as rendering services directly or indirectly by the auditor. तो अगर आपसे रिलेटेड किसी भी पर्सन ने associated with such individual or through any entity whatsoever in which such individual has a significant influence or control, है ना, तो अगर ऐसे किसी भी एंटिटी के थ्रू भी कोई सर्विस प्रोवाइड होती है, इट विल बी डीम्ड दैट यू हैव प्रोवाइडेड दैट सर्विसेज डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली. क्लियर? सो दिस वाज अबाउट सेक्शन 141 सबसेक्शन 3. अब देयर वाज अ डाउट, आई थिंक आलोक का डाउट था, वेयर बाय ही वाज आस्किंग, मैम अगर ऐसा होता है कि सर्विस प्रोवाइड हो जाती है या शेयर्स परचेज हो जाते हैं तो क्या होगा? सो इन दैट केस, सी, where a person appointed as an auditor of a company incurs any of the disqualifications mentioned in subsection 3, कोई भी disqualification which is mentioned in subsection 3 after his appointment, he shall vacate his office as such auditor. He shall vacate the office as such auditor, and such vacation shall be deemed to be a casual vacancy in the office of the auditor. जैसे ही पता चला Mr. Y has acquired certain shares, उसी दिन, in fact, on the date of acquisition, ineligibility will be there. So that firm will vacate the office as the auditor, and it will be deemed to be what? A casual vacancy. Casual vacancy से related various things we will be discussing in section 139 subsection 8 in the next session, ठीक है. But क्या होगा? Casual vacancy create हो जाएगी in the office of the auditor, ठीक है. And yes, significant influence means having more than 20%, right? Absolutely correct, Pranav, ठीक है. Is it clear? So this was with respect to subsection 4. तो अब ये case study पढ़ते हैं, उसके बाद we will quickly recap as to what we have done in this very important section 141. Facts of the case. Mr. A, a chartered accountant, has been appointed as an auditor of Lakshman Limited in the AGM of the company held in September September 2016. Which assignment he accepted. Subsequently, in January 2017, so September 16 he has accepted the assignment. Subsequently, he joined Mr. B, another chartered accountant who is the manager finance of Lakshman Limited. Now, what has happened that the partner is an officer or employee of the company. Clause section 141 subsection 3 clause C. ठीक है? So it prescribes that any person who is a partner or his employment of an officer or employee of the company will be disqualified to act as an auditor of the company. So, subsection 4 of section 141 provides that an auditor who becomes subject after appointment to any of the disqualifications specified in subsection 3 of section 141, he shall be deemed to have vacated his office as an auditor. In the present case, so this is the way to present the answer. Whose doubt was it? In the present case, Mr. A, an auditor of Lakshman Limited, joined as auditor with Mr. B, who is a manager finance of company. The given situation has attracted subsection 3 clause C of section 141, and therefore he shall be deemed to have vacated office of the auditor of Lakshman Limited in accordance with subsection 4 of section 141. है ना? Now many of you are saying, ma'am, अगर पहले से ही disqualification हो, देखो अभी when we will be doing section 139 with respect to appointment of auditor now, you will see that the auditor is required to give his written consent and a certificate that he is not disqualified. So when the auditor is considering whether he can accept the appointment as an auditor of so and so company, first he will himself has to see कि कोई disqualification तो नहीं है, and he has to give that in writing. Consent भी देना है and एक certificate में mention भी करना है that I'm not disqualified, I'm eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. So if he is not eligible, वो appoint ही नहीं होएगा auditor, ठीक है? If after the appointment there is a disqualification, then casual vacancy shall be deemed to have been created in the office of the auditor. Clear? Is it clear? ठीक है? तो quickly 5 minutes में देखते हैं 141 में क्या पढ़ा हमने. Then we'll start with section 139. ठीक है? तो देखो एक ब्रीफ समरी बनाते हैं इसकी. सो देखो अभी हमने क्या पढ़ा है, सेक्शन 141 रिलेटिंग टू व्हाट, एलिजिबिलिटी, क्वालिफिकेशन एंड डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन ऑफ एन ऑडिटर. ठीक है, 4 सबसेक्शंस हैं. पहले हमने क्या पढ़ा, अ पर्सन शैल बी अपॉइंटेड एज एन ऑडिटर ओनली इफ ही इज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट. देन वी in subsection 1 only we studied that a firm can be appointed as an auditor if the majority of the partners practicing in India are eligible as aforesaid, right? And one more thing was there, just a minute. Aforesaid, and then the firm can be appointed in the name of the firm. ठीक है. Subsection 2 में क्या पढ़ा, अगर LLP है, firm including LLP, then the partner who is a chartered accountant, he is authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. यहाँ पे firm से related क्या पढ़ा, that majority of the partners practicing in India क्या होने चाहिए, CA होने चाहिए. ठीक है, ठीक है. Then third में हमने क्या पढ़ा, that this section is to be read along with Rule 10 of CAR 2014, Companies Auditor and Auditor Rule 2014, है ना? ठीक है, जहां पर हमने A to I we read various clauses. So what are those? अच्छा, कोई भी डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन यहाँ की अट्रैक्ट हो जाती है तो क्या होगा, कैजुअल वैकेंसी शैल बी डीम्ड टू हैव बीन क्रिएटेड. कैजुअल वैकेंसी का क्या मतलब है, वैकेंसी मतलब अब दिस ऑडिटर शैल वकेट द ऑफिस, सम अदर ऑडिटर विल बी अपॉइंटेड, ठीक है। सो ध्यानेश, इज इट क्लियर? और क्लियर नहीं है तो ये कैजुअल वैकेंसी आई टोल्ड यू 139 सबसेक्शन 8 में डिटेल में पढ़ते हैं, ठीक है। यहाँ पर हमने पहला क्या देखा, दैट बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट है बट एक्सेप्ट फॉर एलएलपी, बिकॉज एलएलपी तो अलाउड है। ऑफिसर और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी, पार्टनर और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ ऑफिसर और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी, ठीक है। देन हमने फोर्थ पॉइंट ए बी सी डी, डी में क्या देखा, पर्सन और द रिलेटिव और द पार्टनर होल्ड एनी सिक्योरिटी और इंटरेस्ट, ठीक है, और इंडेटेड हैं इन एक्सेस ऑफ 5 lakhs, या गारंटी दिया है कंपनी को किसी थर्ड पर्सन के बिहाफ पे इन एक्सेस ऑफ 1 lakh, ठीक है। कहां पर, कंपनी, होल्डिंग, सब्सिडरी, एसोसिएट, सब्सिडरी ऑफ होल्डिंग में, तो क्या होगा, इनएलिजिबिलिटी आ जाएगा। बट यहां पर क्या एक्सेप्शन है, रिलेटिव को एक्सेप्शन है कि फेस वैल्यू 1 लाख तक होल्ड कर सकते हैं, और अगर ये एक्सीड कर जाती है तो 60 days फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ एक्विजिशन करेक्टिव एक्शन ले सकते हैं, ठीक है, क्लियर। ई में हमने क्या पढ़ा, दैट पर्सन और फर्म शैल नॉट बी एलिजिबल, अगर वो पर्सन या फर्म जो है इनका बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप है किसके साथ, रुको, किसके साथ, कंपनी, होल्डिंग, इट्स सब्सिडरी, इट्स एसोसिएट, ठीक है, और होल्ड सब्सिडरी ऑफ होल्डिंग और एसोसिएट, ठीक है। बट एक्सेप्शन अगेन यहां पर भी है कि अगर सीए कोई सर्विस देता है विच आर परमिटेड, अब परमिटेड पता चल गया ना, या कोई भी प्रोडक्ट सर्विस क्लाइंट से लेता है विच इज ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स में है, एएलपी पे है, एज अ कस्टमर, सिंपल, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट में एफ में हमने क्या पढ़ा, जहां पर जो पर्सन है ना, अगर उसका जो रिलेटिव है वो डायरेक्टर है या केएमपी है, कहां पर, यहाँ पे सिर्फ हम कंपनी की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। जी में हमने क्या पढ़ा, अगर आप फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉयमेंट में हो, ठीक है, ये वैसे ना दिस क्लॉज वी विल बी डूइंग इन डिटेल 140, बेसिकली ये सेक्शन दोबारा से हम पढ़ने वाले हैं डिटेल में, ठीक है। सो फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉयमेंट में, या ऑलरेडी वो पर्सन और पार्टनर ऑफ द फर्म ऑन द डेट ऑफ अपॉइंटमेंट चेक करना है, ठीक है। ऑलरेडी होल्डिंग मोर देन 20, मतलब 20 तक दे कैन होल्ड, अगर 20 से ऊपर जा रहा है ये नंबर देन डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन आ जाएगा। लेकिन यहाँ पर ओपीसी, स्मॉल कंपनी, डोरमेंट कंपनी एंड प्राइवेट कंपनी हैविंग द पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल लेस देन 100 CR इसको इंक्लूड नहीं करता, ठीक है। एच में हमने पढ़ा कि इफ अ पर्सन हैज बीन कन्विक्टेड बाय द कोर्ट ऑफ ऑफेंस, कोर्ट ऑफ ऑफेंस किसके लिए, फ्रॉड के लिए, एंड अ पीरियड ऑफ 10 years हैव नॉट elapsed, ठीक है, elapsed, ठीक है। एंड लास्ट, इफ यू आर रेंडरिंग द सर्विसेज मेंशन इन सेक्शन 144 डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली, ठीक है। अच्छा, यहां पर ना 1 point इज लेफ्ट, देखो हाउ टू समराइज, इज इट क्लियर, लेट मी जस्ट, वैसे ना मैंने हैपेजिड वे में थोड़ा सा बना दिया इसको, आई शुड हैव मेड इट इन जस्ट अ मिनट, देखो ये समराइज हो गया आपका सेक्शन 141, ठीक है। अब देखो अगर ऑडिटर स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर है और अगर कोई परमिटेड सर्विसेज भी देनी है, सो बेसिकली द फर्म कैन गिव द सर्विसेज ओनली आफ्टर द अप्रूवल ऑफ बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स, और जहां पर द कंपनीज आर रिक्वायर्ड टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूट ऑडिट कमिटी, द अप्रूवल ऑफ ऑडिट कमिटी ऑल्सो, तो in order to render any service to a company, the approval of these authorities are required. अब audit committee क्या होती है, section 177 में, in this chapter we will be doing that in detail, ठीक है। So अगर if the company is if that firm is providing other service, तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, अप्रूवल लेना पड़ेगा बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर या जहां पर ऑडिट कमिटी का, ठीक है। अभी मैंने इसे समराइज क्यों किया, because many of you were asking, मैम समरीज कैसे बनानी है? अब समरीज बनाने में कोई बहुत ज्यादा रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. जिस लैंग्वेज में you are able to understand, the language, the charts that you are able to understand, you are comfortable. Quickly, I think it took 5 minutes, है ना, summarize एक bird's eye view है कि सेक्शन में है क्या, ठीक है. But the language that is comfortable to you. अब ये सब see, I don't know na whether you are comfortable in these or not. That is the reason why I don't make my, I don't share my summaries, है ना. So जैसे भी comfortable हो ना, साइड में अगर आप ये छोटा सा चार्ट बना लो या अपने रजिस्टर में, you will be able to remember all the points कि हाँ ये सारी information इस section में है, ठीक है. So tell me whether it is clear. कोई doubt है, then only I'll proceed further, है ना. I've left 2 examples as a homework for you. MCQs next session से discuss करेंगे, and I'm definitely going to ask you MCQs with respect to this topic. कौन से topic है वो भी मैंने बता रखे हैं आपको, है ना. यहाँ relative वाला पक्का आएगा, ये 5 लाख 1 लाख जहाँ लिमिट्स हैं वो आ सकती हैं पक्का से, ठीक है. 20 लिमिट्स आ सकती है, 1% कंपनी वगैरह, है ना. यहाँ पे भी लिमिट है, so anything can come. So our next section will be what? Section 139 relating to appointment of auditors. But I'll proceed with, I'll start the next section only once you send in your replies that whether 141 is clear or not. Also, send in your replies whether you are finding it interesting. देखो law को interesting बना के पढ़ोगे तो बहुत अच्छे से समझ भी आएगा, and you will be able to remember that also, because cramming is not possible. कितना 13 chapters are there, other subjects are also there, you cannot cram everything. Enjoy your learning, you will be able to understand it and remember it for your exams and for your practical life also, once you become what? Chartered accountants, or in your articleship also, ठीक है. Now the next section is, so now having understood about the eligibility, qualification, disqualification of an auditor, now let us understand the various provisions with respect to appointment of auditors, है ना, which are contained in section 139. मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में क्या बोला था कि अगर ऑडिटर को इतना इंपॉर्टेंट टास्क दिया है तो ही शुड बी एलिजिबल ना, इंडिपेंडेंट होना चाहिए ना. अब वो हमने देख लिया. अब हु इज गोइंग टू अपॉइंट द ऑडिटर? Now in this section, है ना, we are going to see all that, ठीक है. So again, this section has 11 subsections. So as such, you need not, learn the subsection wise, है ना. Learning the section is also fine, हाँ, but I always tell you not to write incorrect subsection, ठीक है. So it is having 11 sections. A summary of all those 11 subsections, sorry. I'll be discussing all the 11 subsections, like we'll be summarizing whatever we'll study in section 139 at the end of this section, ठीक है. So section 139 क्या है? Appointment of auditors, ठीक है. The name is what? Appointment of auditors. So if I take you through the module ना, ये देखो, तो अभी तक हमने क्या पढ़ा है? We have studied what? Eligibility, qualification and disqualification of auditors, ठीक है. अब we are doing what? Appointment of auditors, ठीक है. Now this appointment of auditors topic is divided into major 2 parts, which is what? Appointment of first auditor, that is in the first year after the date of registration of the company, and subsequent auditors, subsequent to first auditor, जितने भी auditors appoint होंगे वो कैसे appoint होंगे, ठीक है. Further, this section has different subsections with respect to appointment of first auditor in case of government company, in case of other than government companies. Same way here also, ठीक है. So first of all, let us have a look at the appointment of auditors in case of other than government company, ठीक है. आज हम गवर्नमेंट कंपनी का डिस्कस नहीं कर रहे हैं. टुडे विल बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी का, हु कैन बी अपॉइंटेड एज फर्स्ट ऑडिटर, लाइक हु विल बी अपॉइंटिंग द फर्स्ट ऑडिटर और द सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर. क्लियर? ठीक है. So we'll be discussing what? Section 139 subsection 6 and section 139 subsection 1. First I'll start with section 139 subsection 1. ठीक है. So this section says that every company, it says every company shall at the first annual general meeting appoint an individual or firm as an auditor who shall hold office from the conclusion of that meeting till the conclusion of sixth annual general meeting and thereafter till the conclusion of every sixth meeting. अब ये क्या बोल दिया? देखो अभी हम क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. अभी फर्स्ट ऑडिटर भूल जाओ. ठीक है. So let's say ABC Limited is the company. ठीक है. फर्स्ट AGM हुआ, एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग. सो इट सेज एवरी कंपनी, सभी कंपनी को shall, the word shall is there, every company shall at the first AGM, जो भी फर्स्ट एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग हुई है, अपॉइंट करना है किसी भी इंडिविजुअल को या फर्म को एज एन ऑडिटर who shall hold the office from the conclusion of that AGM till the conclusion of sixth AGM. तो यहां पर आपकी सेकंड AGM हुई, थर्ड AGM हुई, फोर्थ AGM हुई, फिफ्थ AGM हुई. यहां से होल्ड किया. दिस इज 1 year, 2, 3, 4, that is 5 years के लिए that person will be appointed as an auditor of that company. So section 139 subsection 1 ने क्या बोला? that every company shall appoint, individual भी हो सकता है, proprietorship firm भी हो सकती है, या audit firm भी हो सकती है, as an auditor at the first AGM, जो भी आपकी first AGM हुई, who shall hold office from the conclusion of that AGM. Conclusion of that AGM से कहां तक? till the conclusion of sixth AGM, मतलब that 5 years के लिए that auditor or the audit firm is appointed as an auditor of that company. Yes, 5 years from the first AGM. तभी क्या बोला? conclusion of first AGM till the conclusion of sixth AGM. Clear है? Is it clear? ठीक है. So this is with respect to appointment of subsequent auditor, है ना. अभी हम फर्स्ट ऑडिटर की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो फर्स्ट ईयर आफ्टर द डेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन है, उसी के तो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट फर्स्ट AGM में ले डाउन किए गए होंगे ना. उसका ऑडिट किसने किया होगा? फर्स्ट ऑडिटर ने. वो अभी हम डिस्कस करेंगे. यहां से अब कंक्लूड हो गई फर्स्ट AGM. अब जो नेक्स्ट ईयर से फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आएंगे फॉर 5 years, वो कौन करेगा ऑडिट? सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर फॉर 5 years. क्लियर? फर्स्ट ऑडिटर का अभी मैंने डिस्कस नहीं किया. मैंने सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर हु इज अपॉइंटेड सब्सिक्वेंट टू द फर्स्ट ऑडिटर, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर. तो फर्स्ट AGM के कंक्लूजन से टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ सिक्स्थ AGM ही विल बी होल्डिंग द ऑफिस. क्लियर? ठीक है. नाउ इफ यू रिमेंबर, आई टोल्ड यू कि अगर डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन है कुछ, सो ऑडिटर को खुद से राइटिंग में देना है दैट आई एम नॉट डिस्क्वालिफाइड और आई एम एलिजिबल, है ना. सो नाउ वी विल सी दैट व्हाट इज दैट पॉइंट. सो सबसे पहले तो बिफोर सच अपॉइंटमेंट इज मेड, सच अपॉइंटमेंट इज मेड, सो फर्स्ट AGM में आपको अपॉइंटमेंट करना था ना सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर का. ठीक है. पर ये अपॉइंटमेंट लेने से करने से पहले ऑब्टेन अ रिटन कंसेंट फ्रॉम द ऑडिटर. राइटिंग में कंसेंट ले लो दैट द ऑडिटर हैज गिवन अ रिटन कंसेंट फॉर बीइंग अपॉइंटेड एज द ऑडिटर ऑफ द कंपनी. क्लियर? प्लस ऑब्टेन अ सर्टिफिकेट फ्रॉम द ऑडिटर, सर्टिफिकेट कि ये 4 बातें कंफर्म कर दो, 1, 2, 3, 4, और सर्टिफिकेट लाइक सर्टिफाई करके ऑडिटर इज गोइंग टू गिव दैट टू द कंपनी. So company will obtain a written consent from the auditor, also obtain a certificate that if that appointment is made, it shall be in terms of the conditions as may be prescribed. अब आपको पता है as may be prescribed तो कहां पे prescribe होती है? So the rule is what? Rule 4 of the Companies Audit and Auditors Rule 2014. अभी रूल 10 पढ़ा हमने 141 सबसेक्शन 3 के साथ. यहाँ पर when we are studying section 139 subsection 1, यहाँ पर we are studying rule 4 of the Company Auditors and Auditor Rule 2014. क्लियर? तो कंपनी को क्या बोला गया? आपको फर्स्ट एजीएम में सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर को अपॉइंट करना है, हु शैल होल्ड ऑफिस फ्रॉम द कंक्लूजन. वो अब कंक्लूड हो जाएगी एजीएम, वहां से होल्ड करेंगे टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ सिक्स्थ एजीएम. मतलब नेक्स्ट ईयर का ऑडिट करेंगे ना, वो जो भी सब्सिक्वेंट ईयर पड़ेगा वहां से ऑडिट स्टार्ट करेंगे. ठीक है. फिर हमने क्या पढ़ा? कंपनी को रिटन कंसेंट लेना है प्रायर टू द अपॉइंटमेंट, कि लिख के दे दो भाई दैट यू हैव गिवन द कंसेंट, एंड देन अ सर्टिफिकेट दैट इफ दैट अपॉइंटमेंट इज मेड इट शैल बी इन टर्म्स ऑफ द कंडीशंस एज मे बी प्रिस्क्राइब्ड. और वो कहाँ प्रिस्क्राइब की गई है? रूल 4 ऑफ द कंपनी ऑडिटर्स एंड ऑडिटर रूल 2014. देखो बहुत सिंपल है, 4 बातें कंफर्म करेगा ऑडिटर. क्या? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दैट आई एम एलिजिबल, आई एम नॉट डिस्क्वालिफाइड इन टर्म्स ऑफ कंपनीज एक्ट, इन टर्म्स ऑफ सीए एक्ट और द रूल्स रेगुलेशंस मेड देयर अंडर. तो वहीं पे ऑडिटर को चेक करना है ना अपॉइंटमेंट में, बिकॉज ही इज गिविंग दिस टू द कंपनी इन राइटिंग that he is eligible, he is not disqualified. ठीक है. The proposed term is as per the term provided under the act. अब ये क्या टर्म है ये हम नेक्स्ट सेशन में डिस्कस करेंगे, बट ये as per the term है. Third, that the proposed appointment is within the limits. तो 20 वाली लिमिट्स एक्सीड नहीं कर रही है, it is within the limits. ठीक है. And the last, that the list of proceedings against the auditor or the audit firm or any of the partners pending in respect of any professional matters of conduct, if any list of proceeding has been given कि वो pending है against the auditor or the audit firm or the partners, then that list is true and correct. ठीक है. अभी इसको डिस्कस करते हैं डिटेल में. इतना समझ आया कि कंपनी अपॉइंट करेगा फर्स्ट एजीएम में, कंपनी अपॉइंट करेगी फर्स्ट एजीएम में, who shall hold office from the conclusion of that AGM till the conclusion of sixth AGM. But before that appointment की written consent लेना है और certificate लेना है that अगर appointment होती है तो it shall be within the terms of conditions as may prescribed. वो prescribe कहाँ की गई है? रूल 4 में. क्या क्या कंडीशन है कि मैं एलिजिबल ही डिस्क्वालिफाइड नहीं हूँ इन टर्म्स ऑफ सीए एक्ट, कंपनीज एक्ट, रूल्स रेगुलेशंस मेड देयर अंडर. द अपॉइंटमेंट इज एज पर द टर्म्स, द अपॉइंटमेंट इज विद इन द लिमिट्स, एंड जो भी लिस्ट ऑफ प्रोसीडिंग्स अगेंस्ट दैट ऑडिटर, audit firm or the partner with respect to pending proceedings for professional misconduct, then these are what? True and correct. देखो true and fair नहीं दे रहा हूँ, आप कुछ fact बता रहे हो ना, तो true and correct. ठीक है. Then once that appointment has been made, the company shall inform the auditor that you have been appointed. And the company shall also file with the registrar of companies a form which is what? ADT1, that informing the registrar within 15 days of such appointment, MCQ है ना, 15 days of the appointment, that so and so audit firm has been appointed as the auditor of our company. Clear है? अभी हमने डिटेल में डिस्कस नहीं किया, अब करेंगे डिटेल में डिस्कस फ्रॉम द मॉड्यूल. ठीक है. सो इतना समझ आता है. 139 सबसेक्शन 1 किसके लिए बात करते हैं? नॉन गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज के लिए, सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर्स के लिए. सो एवरी कंपनी शैल एट द फर्स्ट एजीएम अपॉइंट इंडिविजुअल और फर्म एज एन ऑडिटर who shall hold office from the conclusion of that meeting till the conclusion of the next AGM and thereafter till conclusion of every sixth AGM. अब इसका क्या मतलब है ये हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. ठीक है. Now, before such appointment is made, a written consent of the auditor to such appointment and a certificate from him or it मतलब firm, him मतलब auditor, that the appointment if made shall be in accordance with the conditions as may be prescribed. वो कहाँ prescribe की गई है? Rule 4, Companies Auditor and Auditor Rule 2014. What are those conditions? देखो, that the individual or the firm, as the case may, is eligible, is not disqualified under the Companies Act, under the CA Act 1949 and under the rules and regulations made thereunder. ठीक है. The proposed appointment is as per the term provided under the Act. The proposed appointment is within the limits laid down by or under the authority of this Act. The list of proceedings against the auditor, या audit firm या partner of the audit firm pending with respect to professional matters of conduct as disclosed in the certificate is true and correct. कि जो भी हमने list of proceedings दिए हैं for professional conduct that are true and correct. The company shall inform the auditor concerned of his or its appointment. His मतलब अगर proprietor auditor है, it's his firm. And also file a notice of such appointment with the registrar within 15 days of the meeting in which the appointment is made. And I told you the form is what? ADT 1. ठीक है, जहां पर आएगा that company ये है, auditor ये है, and the detail of the auditor will be provided. So ये क्या है? कार्तिक, this you will be doing in your finals. ठीक है, अभी हम नहीं कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, so this is with respect to what? Section 139 subsection 1, appointment of subsequent auditor. Clear? ठीक है, so appointment से पहले written consent लेना है, certificate लेना है कि ये 4 conditions fulfill है. appointment होने के बाद auditor को बताना है कि देखो you have been appointed. registrar of companies को within 15 days of such of the meeting in which auditor is appointed, the company need to inform the registrar by filing a form which is what? ADT 1. ठीक है, so this was section 139 subsection 1. Now we'll be studying what? Section 139 subsection 6. तो देखो 139 subsection 1 में हमने क्या पढ़ा? Subsequent auditor other than government company appointed by members in AGM hold the office from 1st AGM to 6th AGM subject to fulfillment of certain conditions. मतलब written consent and the certificate. Clear? Now let us go to the appointment of first auditor. जब कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेट हुई, रजिस्टर हुई, उसके बाद यहाँ फर्स्ट एजीएम हुई, यहाँ पर हमने सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर को अपॉइंट कर दिया जो यहाँ पर 5 सालों तक ही इज होल्डिंग द ऑफिस. अब जो ये फाइनेंशियल्स यहाँ के हैं फर्स्ट ईयर आफ्टर द इनकॉर्पोरेशन, सो द ऑडिटर इज व्हाट? फर्स्ट ऑडिटर. नाउ हु इज गोइंग टू अपॉइंट दैट ऑडिटर? So in case of a company other than the government company, such appointment shall be made by the board of directors. Otherwise कौन करता है? AGM में shareholders. So appointment shall be made by board of directors within 30 days from the date of registration. ठीक है? In case of failure by the board of directors, the members in the extraordinary general meeting, they shall appoint the auditor within 90 days. ठीक है? And the auditor so appointed, the first auditor, he shall hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. He shall hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. मतलब suppose यहाँ पर कंपनी का रजिस्ट्रेशन हुआ, कंपनी का लेट्स से यहां पर रजिस्ट्रेशन हुआ, ठीक है, लेट्स से जुलाई 21 में, ठीक है, 31 मार्च 2022 के ये वाले फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स हैं, इनको कौन ऑडिट करेगा? फर्स्ट ऑडिटर. यहां से विदिन 30 days the board of directors have been given a time to appoint the auditor, and if the board of director is not able to appoint the first auditor, then EGM in within 90 days the shareholders are going to appoint that the first auditor, and the auditor so appointed will hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. अब first AGM के conclusion तक यहाँ इन्होंने hold किया, यहां से सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर ने होल्ड किया, बिकॉज सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर कहां से होल्ड करता है? फ्रॉम द कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट एजीएम टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ 6th एजीएम. और ये कब तक होल्ड करते हैं? टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट एजीएम. ठीक है, so let us have a read at it from the module. So appointment of first auditor in case of company other than government company, as per section 139 subsection 6, the first auditor of a company other than a government company shall be appointed by board of directors within 30 days from the date of registration of the company. In case of failure of the board to appoint the auditor, it shall inform the members. The members of the company shall within 90 days at an extraordinary general meeting appoint the auditor. Appointed auditor shall hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. तो जैसे ही first AGM पे this auditor shall vacate the office, then it will be held by the subsequent auditor. Clear? Is it clear? ठीक है. So quickly go through this case study. The first auditors of Bharti Petrol, achha, this is a government company. Just a minute. So this is with respect to government company. Do not look at it. नहीं, ठीक है. Sorry, ठीक है. Read this point. I will not be taking up appointment of auditors in case of government company in today's session. इतना absorb कर लो, that is fine. ठीक है, because 141 subsection 3 I told you बहुत important है. Descriptive type हो आपका, case study हो, true false anything. ठीक है. Same way with respect to these two subsections of section 139. Please go through this question. Meanwhile, I'll have a look at your queries. So auditor is appointed to conduct the audit of financial statements for the year ending 31st March now. Alok, your answer is correct, but the reasoning is not correct. So managing director of Pigeon Limited himself wants to appoint CA Champ, a practicing chartered accountant, as first auditor of the company. So देखो, अब first auditor है और यहाँ government company भी नहीं है, तो क्या है? Section 139 subsection 6, ठीक है, of the Companies Act lays down that the first auditor of the company shall be appointed by the board of directors within 30 days from the date of registration of the company. In the instant case, the proposed appointment of CA Champ, a practicing chartered accountant. तो CA Champ में तो कोई problem नहीं है, आलोक. Practicing chartered accountant है, as first auditor by managing director by himself is in violation. Why? Because वो तो board of directors को बोला गया है ना, that within 30 days आपको appoint करना है. अब देखो यहाँ पर क्या बोला है? Wants to appoint. Who wants to appoint? The managing director. But board of director को within 30 days appoint करना है ना. So managing director of Pigeon Limited should be advised not to appoint the first auditor. Why? Because section 139 subsection 6 authorizes the board of directors to appoint the auditor of the company. ठीक है आलोक? So your reasoning is not correct. Quickly tell me, is it clear? Students, please send in your replies. सेक्शन 144 कहां से आया आलोक? यहाँ पर तो हम क्या बात कर रहे हैं? सेक्शन 144 में तो परमिटेड सर्विसेज और सब आता है ना. ठीक है, ठीक है. So Alok is saying, ma'am, it is clear now. ठीक है. So rest of you also please send in your replies whether it is clear or not, है ना. तो हमने क्या पढ़ा? अभी इसको भी समराइज करते हैं. अभी हमने क्या पढ़ा है? सेक्शन 139, what is the name? Appointment of auditors. तो हमने पहले पढ़ा सबसेक्शन 6, जहां पर हमने क्या पढ़ा? दैट एवरी कंपनी को शैल, है ना, मैंडेटरी एट फर्स्ट AGM अपॉइंट क्या करना होगा? ऑडिटर और अ फर्म एज इट्स ऑडिटर हु शैल होल्ड ऑफिस फ्रॉम द कंक्लूजन टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट AGM. कौन होल्ड कर रहा है? फर्स्ट AGM. अब फ्रॉम द कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट AGM कौन होल्ड कर रहा है? सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर. एंड इसका क्या है? टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ सिक्स्थ AGM. सो फॉर देयर इज अ क्वेरी कि मैम 5 years कैसे है? देखो, फर्स्ट AGM हुई, ये कंक्लूड हो गई, खत्म हो गई, यहां पर आपने अपॉइंट कर दिया. फिर सेकेंड AGM होगी, थर्ड, फोर्थ, फिफ्थ, सिक्स्थ, तो ये 1 साल हो गया ना. देन 2, then 3, then 4 and then 5. So total 5 years हो गए ना. किसी का doubt था? I hope it is clear now. It is a part of board of director, but board of directors को अपनी board meeting convene करके वहां पर appoint करना है ना प्रीतिका. ऐसे थोड़ी ना एमडी किसी को भी कॉल करके कह देगा कल से ऑडिटर का काम स्टार्ट कर दो. अमन, इज इट क्लियर नाउ? ये वाला कंसेप्ट इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है. एंड देन वी सॉ दैट बिफोर द अपॉइंटमेंट रिटन कंसेंट लेना है फ्रॉम द ऑडिटर एंड सर्टिफिकेट दैट कंडीशंस एज मे बी प्रिस्क्राइब सेटिस्फाई होंगी. क्या कंडीशंस है रूल 4 में? फर्स्ट क्या है? दैट आई एम एलिजिबल नॉट डिस्क्वालिफाइड अंडर सीए एक्ट, कंपनीज एक्ट और रूल्स रेगुलेशंस मेड देयर अंडर. The appointment is as per the terms. The appointment is within the limits as is given under the authority of this act, and that the list of proceedings against any of the partner, audit firm or the auditor with respect to the professional conduct, these are what? True and correct. देखो ये true and fair थोड़ी ना दोगे, कोई opinion थोड़ी ना दे रहे हो, fact बता रहे हो ना, तो true and correct. ठीक है. Further, it is the duty of the company to inform the auditor that you have been appointed and to inform the registrar of companies within 15 days from the meeting when such appointment is made, and the form is what? ADT1. registrar को भी बताएंगे ना कि इस auditor को we have appointed as an auditor. ठीक है. तो I told you that from the conclusion of first AGM till the conclusion of sixth AGM, this auditor will hold the office. तो इससे पहले कौन hold करेगा? First auditor. फर्स्ट ऑडिटर का अपॉइंटमेंट कहां दिया गया है? सेक्शन, जस्ट अ मिनट, कुछ कंफ्यूजन हो गया है. दिस इज सबसेक्शन 1. ठीक है, देयर वाज अ कंफ्यूजन. सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 1 है. फर्स्ट ऑडिटर का अपॉइंटमेंट इज गिवन इन सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 6. ठीक है. यहाँ पर फर्स्ट ऑडिटर को कौन अपॉइंट करता है? बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को विद इन 30 डेज का टाइम दिया गया है. If such appointment is not made, then EGM कॉल करके शेयर होल्डर्स को 90 डेज में ऑडिटर को अपॉइंट करना पड़ेगा. एंड द ऑडिटर सो अपॉइंटेड, द फर्स्ट ऑडिटर शैल होल्ड ऑफिस टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट एजीएम. टिल द कंक्लूजन. यहां पर जैसे ही ये गया, द न्यू ऑडिटर विल ज्वाइन. ठीक है. इज इट क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है. तो लेट अस जस्ट क्विकली हैव अ लुक कि गवर्नमेंट कंपनी क्या होती है. उसके अलावा आई विल नॉट डू एनीथिंग. गवर्नमेंट कंपनी क्या होता है बताओ. So the next two provisions that we have to discuss is what? Section 139 subsection 5 and section 139 subsection 7 relating to appointment of first auditor and subsequent auditor in case of a government company. तो मुझे बताओ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी क्या होती है, और ये भी बताओ कि सीएजी क्या होता है. हु इज सीएजी? कंट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया. क्विकली टेल मी. मतलब होल्ड द ऑफिस मतलब है दैट ही विल कंटिन्यू टू बी द ऑडिटर ऑफ द कंपनी. वकेट द ऑफिस का क्या मतलब है? कि नाउ ही इज नॉट होल्डिंग, ही इज नॉट द ऑडिटर ऑफ द कंपनी. अमन, इज इट क्लियर? Are you clear about the concept of government company and comptroller and auditor general of India? CAG. So Murtaza Ali is correct. Dhyanish is correct. CAG. About CAG, tell me. Comptroller, not controller. Comptroller and Auditor General of India. तो गवर्नमेंट कंपनी का तो आपने करेक्ट बताया. बताओ कॉम्प्ट्रोलर, सीएजी, कॉम्प्ट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया. एनी आइडिया अबाउट दिस अथॉरिटी? क्विकली सेंड इन योर रिप्लाईज. ठीक है. चलो, वी विल डू वन थिंग, वी विल डिस्कस दिस इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन. बट एक बारी बिफोर एंडिंग द सेशन, 141 के सबसेक्शन 1, 2, 3, 4, I hope these are clear. And section 139 के subsection 1 and subsection 6 आज हमने ये पढ़े हैं. नेक्स्ट सेशन में इसको रीड करके आना. I'll definitely take MCQs का टेस्ट. 5 MCQs we'll discuss. फ्रॉम दीज टॉपिक्स ओनली, ठीक है। और अब तो मैंने आपको टॉपिक भी बता दिया कहाँ से आई विल बी मेकिंग द एमसीक्यूज, तो प्लीज read the module, watch the session again if you want before coming for the next session. And our Sunday session है ना is in the morning, ठीक है, followed by a session on Monday. Monday वाला session is again in evening. तो अभी तो we'll be meeting on Friday, but I just wanted to tell you that this Sunday also we'll be having a session which is in morning, ठीक है. So before leaving the session, students do reply as to whether you have understood, whether you have enjoyed today's session or not, है ना. Law है, boring नहीं बनाएंगे, interesting बनाएंगे. So tell me whether you have understood, interesting लगा, and are you able to remember the provisions or not? Pranav, okay, send in your query. क्या है Pranav? Quickly send in your queries. Pranav wants to ask certain queries relating to chapter number 9. Quickly send in your query, Pranav. Others also, if you have any query, please send in your queries. So government companies का audit कौन करता है प्रभात? This will be discussing in the next session. Murtaza, you are correct with respect to your understanding of CAG. Pranav, you can send in your queries, Hana. What I'll do is, अच्छा, so I'll take this query in the next session. At the start of the session only, I'll discuss this topic with you. This was the only query, Pranav. ठीक है? So I'll take up this topic in the next session. Pranav, your query with respect to chapter number 9. ठीक है? Apart from that, students, please do reply whether you have understood or not. And before coming for the next session, as I've requested you, please go through the module and then come for the session. ठीक है? So good night and please do study before coming for the next session. Okay. Thank you. Bye.